Check 1, 2, 3. Check 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3.
Perfect.
Check 1, 2, 3.
We are here at Albertson Stadium here in Boise, Idaho. Boise State University, home of the Broncos here on the blue turf. Broncos in their all blue,
Broncos.
orange striping, and the Cougs in all white with the crimson lettering. Go Cougs. Go Cougs. Look at the potato, dude. See him in the end zone? She got the hookup on it. The Cougars of Washington State. Johnny Appleseed.
Yes.
Goodness gracious, I'm sorry.
Dude, I just have no service on my phone. I can't.
You want to see if you can call him like on Snapchat on mine?
I'm trying to.
I have full bars.
Trying to figure out if I can hear us on the call or not, but.
Yeah, my phone's gonna weird with Snapchat.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you check the YouTube again and see if this is doing okay?
Live stream.
Check 1, 2, 3.
Really, really good.
Check 1, 2, 3. We are here in Albertson Stadium, here in
Keep talking,
Boise.
Josiah.
We are here in Boise, Idaho, home of the Boise State Broncos here at Albertson Stadium.
Okay, so I think.
Check, check, check. 1, 2, 3. Check, check, check. 1, 2, 3. The Cougars will take on the Broncos of Boise. Boise. Ashton Genty with the carry, and he will be brought down at the 28-yard line.
So it sounds clear though? Okay, then I'm just going to leave it the way it is, and this is how we'll do it. All right, appreciate it.
We're set.
Pregame in a sec?
Yeah, dude. What were you? I know you mentioned. Welcome to Boise, Idaho, here at Albertson Stadium as we get ready for this matchup. The Washington State Cougars will be taking on the Boise State Broncos here in our program show. My name is Josiah Frank, and I'm here with
Luke Westfall. Happy to be here, Josiah. So excited. The blue Smurf turf, how can you not love it? A pretty new stadium, too, an electric environment. We just got off the field, and I'm excited for some football.
I cannot wait. I am not only excited not just to be here in the stadium, but to see an amazing football game as this newly formed rivalry here tonight, the Battle of the Snake River. How does that sound, Luke?
How about it? You love to hear it, and there's been so much, conflict between Washington and Washington State and all this stuff with the conferences and teams moving every which way. Boise State is coming to the Pac-12 in 2026. They're a great football school, great basketball school in an amazing city. We've loved Boise every step of the way so far. I would love to get this rivalry going a yearly conference rivalry, kind of taking the place of almost that Washington rivalry in the future. I know there's 4 years left. I don't know what they'll do beyond that, but it would be great to see these two teams really battle it out every year because they're pretty close, just under 6 hours. They're both, a little bit underrated and kind of disrespected yearly on the football stage, but they're certainly up there with the best football programs in, college football history. They're both so significant, and so I would love to see it every year, and I love to hear that Snake River rivalry.
Oh, you just love to see it. I am so excited to just not be here. Man, this is just a great environment. We were just on that turf just, 20, 30 minutes ago, and this place is electric.
Yeah.
And one thing that's really electric, the scoreboard just played some intros, and I don't know if you noticed, Luke, while you were talking, when Ashton Genty popped up on the scoreboard, this place erupted. And I think that's kind of one of the first points that I really want to get into is Ashton Genty,
yeah.
Ashton Genty, Ashton Genty.
Ashton Genty again, just in case you didn't say it enough times. Dude, Ashton Genty is absolutely unreal. From Lone Star High School, Texas. He makes his way to Boise State, dude. As a true freshman, All Mountain West honorable mention where he ran 156 times for 821 yards and 7 touchdowns, averaged over 5 yards a carry. That was 2 years ago, Josiah. Last year, Genty, 12 games, 220 carries, 1,347 rushing yards, 14 touchdowns, and also 569 yards receiving and 5 touchdowns. He was a first-team All-American according to ESPN and USA Today, Mountain West Offensive Player of the Year and first team, not to mention that he was also on the academic All-Mountain West team. So this guy really does it all. And so far this year, people were excited about him. George Holani, if you're a Seahawks fan, is on the Seahawks practice squad, Boise State running back last year with Genty. And so now Genty has the reins. And there are a couple of really talented true freshmen on this roster that have both each won, Freshman of the Week in the Mountain West. They've gotten some time to shine. They'll carry the torch going forward after Genty. But right now, Genty is absolutely unreal. And so far this season, he's only played in 3 games, and on 56 carries, he's averaging an NCAA best 10.5 yards per carry. He's averaging over a first down per carry, 586 yards, second in the nation behind only the running back from Iowa who's played in 4 games already, 9 touchdowns, averaging 195.3 yards rushing per game, and he's on just about every single award watch list and college all-star game watch list that you can think of in the nation right now. Just absolutely unreal. Nearly carried this team all the way to a win on the road against the top 10 Oregon squad and absolutely torched the Georgia Southern and Portland State defenses. So Washington State, who's given up a lot of yards defensively, which we'll talk about later on, is going to have to figure some things out and try to slow him down because, as we talked about, Josiah, you're not stopping the guy.
Not at all. The best we can do is, hopefully to slow him down. Ashton Genty, as Luke just mentioned, his resume is about 1.5 miles long. But this guy is not only a talented and fast and quick and agility-given running back, But this guy also has ability to change as well. A cool little factoid that I learned about Ashton Genty, when he was in middle school, his father being into the military, he had to move to Europe for about a year or two. And if most of you guys do not know, Europe is not a powerhouse for American football.
No, it is not.
They're big on for the other type of football, as we like to call soccer here in the States. So it was a very difficult thing to find football teams in a very crucial point of his life, the 7th and 8th grade, where, you know, it's make or break if you're going to do well in high school and maybe go to a college. So he actually had to travel from Germany to Italy, which is about an 8 or 9 hour trip, just to play football once a week. So this guy is not accustomed to not dealing with adversity.
Absolutely.
And changing and reacting on the fly.
And also, he battled through an ankle injury in week 1 against Georgia Southern after a long touchdown run. He went down with an injury. He's also got 2 touchdown runs of over 70 yards. He's got 1 of 68. 6 touchdowns in week 1, Josiah. I mean, this guy has literally done every single thing you could ask for. He hasn't done a ton in their receiving game so far this season, but the reason why is because they haven't needed to. Why throw the ball to the guy when you could just give it right to him and let him make plays happen right away? And we'll get into it more later too, Josiah, but another big reason why Genty's having such a big season is one of the very best offensive lines in the country. 4 out of 5 returning starters, 3 of which on the interior, allowed 1 or less sacks last year and are absolute maulers. They have great size, and their left tackle is also an All-Mountain West first-team preseason guy. They are just absolute maulers up front with great blocking tight ends and receivers too. Josiah, this team is built to run the football.
They are indeed. They have this wing type of offense where the offensive lineman splits are just a little bit larger than even per se Washington State or even other teams. They are built to run the football down your throat and say, if you can stop me, do it. If you cannot, we will run all over you the entire night. And hopefully the Cougs can stop that or at least slow that down so that ending does not happen here. And kind of on the flip side, talking about the Cougs as well, I wanted to get in a little bit about Mateer. You know, he has been electric. I've heard of this nickname, Johnny Appleseed, after we got that Apple Cup win a few weeks ago. This guy is all over the field, maybe not like Genty, but he's definitely athletic, being a mobile quarterback, as well as being kind of a dual threat and making our receivers score some touchdowns. So what do you think about him? Yeah.
He's also got a killer new sandwich over at Miss Huddy's in Pullman, so make sure you go check that out.
Great barbecue.
John Mateer in partnership with Miss Huddy's, but John Mateer has been absolutely unreal this season. Right now, him and Genty enter, according to DraftKings odds, both tied for 11th with plus 3,300 Heisman odds as we stand. Genty, a big reason why is because he missed the last half of last week sitting out, and then Mateer, who we'll get into in a second here. We might take a break for the national anthem and then get back to our pregame here soon. That's still coming up here in a minute. But just in case that rolls around in a second, just kind of forewarning for any listeners at the moment. But yeah, no, Mateer has been absolutely unreal this year. He's done it through the air so far this year, Josiah. He's 63 of 116, so only a 54.3% completion percentage. He still has some room to improve there, but he's 16th in the nation with over 1,100 passing yards, 11 touchdowns to 4 picks, and he also has 57 carries for 425 yards, which 425 yards, Josiah, is 17th in the nation, but second in the country in rushing among quarterbacks, only behind, guess what? The Army quarterback, who, of course, had already played earlier this week. So he's played in more games. And, of course, they run the triple option offense. So he's always running. So John Mateer has been an absolute tank this season. He's been huge and clutch in big-time moments. And it's going to be an absolute blast to get to watch him try and take on a defense that he's going to need to try and find different ways to carve up. Because if Genty has taught us anything on the tape, it's going to be a tough ask for the WSU defense, and they're going to need a lot of help from Mateer and this Cougar offense.
Absolutely. We are going to take a break real quick for the national anthem, and then we will get right back into this football game as we will get started. You are listening to KUGR Radio. We are back at KUGR. This is Josiah Frank. I'm back with Luke Westfall here as we are about to get started in about 8 minutes till kickoff for this great game in this newly formed rivalry of the Battle of the Snake River. Luke, something that we wanted to get back to in this pregame was this Boise State offensive line. And Luke, I'm just going to read you some of these sizes and weights for these big dudes up front. Number 77, Cage Casey, he's 6'5", 316. Ben Dooley, 6'5", 320. Mason Randolph, 6'4", 309. Roger Karen, 6'5", 306. And Hall Schmidt at right tackle, 6'7", 308. Also a Washingtonian native. I mean, Luke, just give me your initial thoughts about these guys are not little by any means.
Not even an ounce under 300 pounds. You're talking big guys. The only new starter from last year is Hall Schmidt at right tackle, who redshirted back in 2022 and then played in just 2 games last year, taking over at the reins on the right side. At left guard, Ben Dooley allowed 1 sack and 270 snaps last year. Randolph 1 sack and 293 at center. Their right guard, Carrion, 1 sack and 311 snaps last year. That's the interior line. Left tackle, Cage Casey, gave up a few more sacks, but he was an All-Mountain West second-teamer. He was a second-team freshman All-American in the nation, and he's on the Outland Trophy and Senior Bowl watch this year, as well as being a preseason All-Mountain West first-teamer. So he certainly is expected to do big things this season for what he did last year, too, and expected to develop even further as just a red shirt sophomore.
Oh, my goodness.
So this offensive line is huge. They're athletic, they're dominant, and they averaged, Josiah, the 13th best rate of sacks per game a year ago at just 1.13.
That is insane.
They have been absolutely dominant this season at keeping not only their quarterback Maddox Manson protected, but paving massive holes for their star running back Ashton Genty to run through all season long. It's going to be fun to watch how this WSU defensive line can stack up against them. They've struggled to stop the run so far this season. Washington State this season is allowing 151.3 rush yards per game, 319.5 passing yards per game. They're going to have to find a way to stop the run somehow because, Josiah, they need to give their pass rushers a chance to tee off because they've only gotten 5 total sacks this year.
They are ridiculous. You know, like you mentioned, Genty and even Madsen, they're getting all the love, all the hype, all the fame, but really to the guys blocking up front, that's really where the magic happens. That's where these plays are really coming about. We talked about before earlier, but Boise State runs this kind of wing-style offense that is actually pretty old. I came from a program where we ran a wing T-style offense with a great running back and a big offensive line. And right now, they don't only have a big offensive line and a good running back, they have a phenomenal running back and an amazing offensive line. So those two weapons molded together equals an equation of a scary football offense. So
absolutely, it does.
And we are just praying that our guys up front can hopefully slow them down.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, there's a few minutes left till kickoff. They have some seriously amazing lights here, antics. The crowd is juiced. It's a sellout crowd, Josiah. Second week in a row, they've sold this stadium out at just under 37,000. We are going to take one last break here on KUGR, the end of our pregame show. Thank you to all who listened in. On the other side of this break, folks, it's Washington State on the road traveling down the Snake River to take on Boise State in the Snake River rivalry here from Boise, Idaho on KUGR on the other side.
The Cougars of Washington State have traveled down the Snake River where they seek to pounce on the Broncos of Boise as a new rivalry is born. Washington State will take on Boise State here in Albertson Stadium here in Boise, Idaho. I am Josiah Frank and I'm here with the Luke Westfall. And Luke, the Cougs come into this game undefeated 4-0 and ranked in the AP poll just under the top 25 at 26, as Boise State with a 2-1 record are ranked 25th in the nation, only falling to the University of Oregon. And Luke, just what are you most excited for as we get this newly formed rivalry started?
Well, Washington State, they're finding new ways to win this season. Obviously a blowout week 1 over Portland State, a dominant game over Texas Tech in week 2. Then they get the Apple Cup victory in Seattle. Last week was the trap game of all trap games against undefeated San Jose State on a short week after the Apple Cup. They pull it out in double OT, and that's a game that they probably don't win in recent years. Last year, 1-4 in one-score games. This year, WSU is already 2-0 in such games. And so this is going to be a huge test, their first true road game against a top 25 opponent, probably the most talented opponent on paper, at least judging off of 1 or 2 positions with Genty and Hassanine. But as we get into this game, I'm just so excited to see how Washington State responds to facing an elite offensive line and rushing attack of Boise State, and if John Mateer and this Cougar offense can keep up, because Josiah, this is 2 top 10 offenses in terms of yards per game. This is going to be a fireworks show if you've ever seen one in front of an electric crowd on the blue Smurf turf, and I'm hyped up.
Absolutely. We are about to rock and roll here. A little bit of series history. The Cougs have actually won 5 out of the last 6 meetings during the Pac-12 era versus Boise State. So hopefully we can get another win tonight, but the biggest task will be to at least slow down Ashton Genty. The Cougs, as we get ready to start this ball game off, the Broncos will be receiving. They are in their all blue with orange and white lettering, and the Cougs in their all white. This place is rocking, Luke.
And it's going to be, look at that, Josiah. The fullback Tyler Crow is back there to return here, as well as wide receiver Caden Chan, who is actually a native of Boise, Idaho, a 2-time all-conference punt returner at Santa Barbara City Community College last year and the year prior. So Caden Chan is back there to return, and I'm hyped up.
Yeah, usually it's Latrell Caples and some of those guys out there that, run their slot positions, but they're switching it up here. Maybe we'll see some more of that as Janikowski for the Cougs is getting ready to kick it off here at the 35-yard line.
Janikowski handling a lot of duties with injuries to his other special teamsmen.
And the kickoff is directed to the back of the end zone, was directed to Chan, and will be a touchback, as the Broncos will be the first team out on the football field.
Absolutely, and here comes Maddox Manson, who won the quarterback battle against a 5-star transfer in Malachi Nelson from USC this offseason, so he wins that quarterback battle. And at running back, of course, it's Ashton Genty, so it's going to be an explosive attack. We'll see how the Cougs can line up.
Ball is on the 25 as we start the first quarter. Looks like the Broncos, the officials are having a conversation over by the chains and the marker.
Yeah, interesting to see what's going on there.
Don't know. Looks like they figured it out. Looks like they were also talking to head coach Spencer Danielson. But it looks like we are ready to rock and roll here in Albertson Stadium.
Loves to line up under center. Really old school offense with the single back with Genty.
Madison, runner in motion but stops. Under center, Madsen hands it off to Genty, and he will gain nothing.
How about that? What a stuff on first down. They pick up 1 yard on the run with Genty to the right side that time, and it was the linebacker Buda Alukta who was in there first, and then a defensive line interior of Khalil Aoufal, and David Gusta stuffed it. So a really nice job that time on first down by Washington State.
Madsen is now in shotgun formation. Madsen snaps it, another handoff to Genty, and he is going to go to the 32 and gets down to about the 34, brought down by, it looks like Cyrus Webster.
I think you're right on that one, Josiah, but he could have been brought down by 5 or 6 guys, but that's just Genty for you.
Yep.
He doesn't go down to arm tackles, and he usually doesn't go down on first contact. Really physical running, and this Boise State offense, they'll draw out every last second of the play clock if they have to.
New string of Cougs in for the defense and defensive line. As Madsen is back under center. Runner in motion, back hands it off to Genty, and he is stopped again. Oh, it looks like he maybe pushed it. It was 3rd and 1 as they're going to move the chains of first down for the Broncos.
Well, he didn't have it initially. It looked like he was wrapped up at about the line of scrimmage by Ansel Dinenbu on the interior there. But, of course, not only do you have Genty driving those legs, but then you have those big offensive linemen coming in behind him and pushing. And if they can't get him to call forward progress quick, he can keep on gaining yards.
Shotgun for Madsen. Ball is on the 39, and he's going to take it off and hand it over. It's going to be a drop ball by Chase Penry. It looked to be intended for him, and that's going to bring out 2nd and 10.
That ball was just a little bit too far behind Penry, who was running an out to the left sideline that time. And Madsen just pushed it a little bit too far up the field on his back shoulder, and he couldn't make the adjustment.
0-0 ball game, 2nd and 10. Madsen in shotgun formation. Fakes the clap for the snap. Second one is good. He's going to give it to Genty. Genty is going to go, and Genty's going to the 50, to the 40, to the 30, and doesn't look like anyone's going to catch him. Ashton Genty, touchdown Broncos, 6-0.
Yeah, Josiah, you can hear how that crowd gets on their feet, and just wait until they're out on defense. Ashton Genty, oh my goodness. I mean, how about that run there? A massive touchdown for Genty. And Washington State, if that's how this defense is going to hold up today against the run, this one won't be too competitive.
Don't miss for the extra point, and it is through the uprights, and that will put Boise State up 7-0 against the Cougs. 12:52 left in this first quarter as both teams goes back to the sidelines. And yeah, absolutely, just like you said, Genty was kind of bobbled up in a mixture of Cougs, then broke away, and once he got to that top speed over on the right side of the field, he just streamed to the sideline, and that will hopefully will not be the first of many. But if the Cougs do not try to slow him down, we could be repeating a similar pattern very frequently.
Absolutely, and I mean, Genty, we talked about how unreal he is. Not only does he run excellently inside and outside the tackles, he's great at breaking tackles, arm tackles, or even tackles that look like they took a good angle, or even the best of tacklers in the nation. It really doesn't matter. Ashton Genty is just so hard to bring down. He's the hardest guy to bring down in the entire country. He's the best running back in the entire country right now. He proved it again right there, and he's doing it in front of a crowd that is sold out at just under 37,000 fans. And if he's able to continue to have that kind of success and get this crowd as hyped up as they were on that touchdown run, it was deafening down there, even for under 40,000.
Scary.
If this crowd is like that all night, it's going to be a long night for Washington State. They have to find a way to get this crowd back in control, because even though, Josiah, we saw a few Cougs fans here and there in Boise State.
It's a sea of blue.
On the campus and around the city. It's a sea of blue and orange out there, along with this blue field and the all-blue jerseys and helmets for Boise State. It's going to be blue rain all night if Washington State doesn't find a way to bring down Ashton Genty.
What I noticed what happened, at least for that first possession, just kind of flying to the ball super fast, and if they can try to beat him before he gets past that line of scrimmage, maybe they can try to contain him in that box. But the minute he bounces outside, no one is slowing down that top speed.
Yeah, his top speed is elite, and I mean, some people had questioned that. They wondered, is his top speed his one weakness, his Achilles heel? It's not. Once he hits top speed, he's still gone. He's absolutely unreal.
Oh, he's gone. The Cougs will be starting to receive as the Broncos in a interesting type of formation for their kickoff. Looks to be about 4 Bronco players to the left of the kicker, and then another 4 to the right.
Leighton Smithson's back to return, and Boise State against Oregon a few weeks ago allowed a kick return and punt return touchdown. Smithson returned a kick return for a touchdown last year against Colorado.
And the kick is up. It's kind of a bit of a squib, and it's going to be out of bounds, and there will be a flag because of it.
So good starting field position for Washington State. They'll bring it out to the 35, and the dog is out on the field, Josiah.
Oh, yeah, he's moving. It looks to be, I don't know, what would you say? That's a lab? What would you say that is?
Well, he's the T-dog, I know that.
Yeah,
he goes out there and gets the kicking tee, and you love to see
it.
Them get the T-dog involved. But now John Mateer in this offense, there's no time to waste.
No, not at all.
They don't have a chance to slow down right here. They're going to have to get right after it, and they're going to open up this game in an open formation, Josiah, because they have to respond immediately.
Absolutely. Mateer in shotgun formation. 3 receivers on the right. And Mateer's going to take it to the 40. Mateer's going to the 50, to the 40. And it doesn't look like a Bronco's going to catch him. He's ultimately brought down at about the 13-yard line. First play, John Mateer runs at about 50 yards.
John Mateer is just so unreal. He is the Ashton Genty of this offense, and just a straight quarterback draw right back up the middle. And if he didn't stumble a little bit on that run, Josiah, he's probably gone.
Brought down by the safety. He was brought down by the safety, Ty Benefield.
That's a gain of 52 yards on the first play of the game, Josiah.
Mateer back in shotgun formation. He is going to give it to Wayshawn Parker, who is going to find a sea of Broncos and brought down, maybe gained a yard, if not any gain at all.
Yeah, and that time they just went with the 2-back set, on 1 back on each side of Mateer, just a straight inside zone with Wayshawn Parker, and he just kind of got stood up at the line. Great job by this Boise State front, and we'll talk about him a lot, I'm sure, tonight, but Ahmad Hassanein, we've been figuring that name out all night.
Yeah, that's our best guess.
Yeah, we've been getting it all night, but what we do know is he's an absolute unit off of the edge.
Mateer in shotgun, claps with formation, two fake throws, and he's going to throw a touchdown over to Cooper Mathers, the tight end, and that's going to put the Cougs on the board.
Cooper Mathers, how about that? The double pump fake left, pump fake right, and then he finds Mathers on the seam right up the middle. Cooper Mathers, Josiah, who had 2 catches last week, both were touchdown catches, and now he's got his 3rd catch in the last 2 weeks, all for touchdowns. A chance to tie here for Washington State, but keep in mind, Janikowski has missed 2 extra points this season.
He has indeed. Mateer will be holding as Janikowski getting ready for the PAT. 11:23 left in the first quarter. Hold is good, snap good, kick is good. We have a tie ball game.
That one cleared the net too. You love to see it. Janikowski getting some of his confidence back after that 52-yard game-tying field goal last week. And I'll tell you what, Josiah, that is so huge. We talked about how this game is going to be a shootout, but these are 2 teams that love to run the football. The Broncos love to do it with Genty. Washington State loves to do it with John Mateer, and they both did that. On that first drive, Ashton Genty, 4 carries, 75 yards and a touchdown on 1 drive. We're not even to the 10-minute mark of the quarter yet. He's got 75 yards and a touchdown. And John Mateer, we're not even to the 10-minute mark yet, And he already broke off a 52-yard quarterback draw and then threw a touchdown.
First pass of the game.
So talking about two of these guys that both of these teams and a lot of people around the nation have been saying are underrated dark horses for the Heisman this season. Let me tell you what, if these two teams keep winning, whichever one wins, or either or, honestly, these two guys are going to be names to watch on those award watch lists all season long.
And
Absolutely.
We were really hoping for this to be a high-scoring game, that hopefully it wasn't lopsided for one of these teams. And from what we have right here, there's 11:23 left in the first quarter. It is back-to-back for both teams. Two big plays, making defining moments as we have a tie ball game, excuse me.
And you would think that Boise State would be more of a team that kind of controls the ball, ground and pound style of offense, really, but they're actually second in the nation in one-play touchdown drives this season with 40. They're top in the nation in 50-plus yard plays, and that's all because of Genty.
Absolutely.
He's an amazing running back, and they love to ground and pound. But honestly, Genty doesn't run the ball that much, and they don't run that many plays because Genty is constantly breaking these long touchdown runs. And so even though this Boise State offense, really their identity is running with Genty, they're not one of those typical old-school ground and pound offenses that is going to run the clock and time of possession up on you and really make the clock disappear. It's really like a passing offense in a run style. So it's going to be interesting to see how they can keep up, but that's the good thing for Washington State, is their defense won't have to be on the field nearly as long because of Boise State's style of offense, even though they run the ball. And Washington State, if they can keep scoring, it's not like if they go one drive without scoring a touchdown, all of a sudden they're completely cooked because Boise State is not going to ground and pound the clock away when they take the lead. They're going to keep punching down on the gas pedal.
Yeah, not at all. But the Cougs, hopefully, they can try to contain this Boise State offense and at least just go back and forth so that we can maybe have a high-scoring, entertaining game.
The very first play of the Boise State offensive game on their last drive, WSU stuffed him, and after that, they didn't stand a chance.
Janikowski's kick will be back into the end zone. Looked like Genty was out there receiving as well. I don't know if you noticed that on the right side.
Yeah, Genty, sometimes you got to put your best playmaker out there in the kick return unit and get any advantage you can.
Have to. Boise State will take over at the 25-yard line and give them a new set of downs, 1st and 10. 7-7 ball game here, 11:23 left into the first quarter.
WSU's talked a lot throughout the week about tackling, and they struggled on that first drive.
Madsen under center. Hands it off to Genty, who is going to be wrapped up by a string of Cougs. But it looked to be Kyle. Who do you think that was? I think that
it was about 3 or 4 different guys simultaneously. The guy that reacted with the most emotion was the D-tackle Ansel Dinenbu.
Yes.
But there was a number of Cougs in there. I think the first contact was actually made by the safety Jackson Latai-Mua.
I think so.
Who I think is checked out now for Tanner Moku, 32.
Madsen in shotgun. Snaps, he will drop back in the pocket. He's looking outside, and it was, intended for it looked like to be Chase Penry, but he is going to drop it. Got like a couple fingertips on it, and that's going to bring up 3rd and 8 for the Broncos.
Really nice underneath coverage that time, following Genty across the formation and picking him up in the flat. And a really nice job that time by the nickel corner, Kapenagushikin, Senior Bowl watch guy this year for Washington State. Tight coverage on Penry.
Penry getting a couple touches early as Madsen will line up in shotgun formation. Ball on the 27, 3rd and 8. He drops back into the pocket. Ball is batted, and it looks to be an incomplete pass, and that looked to be the big D tackle. Was that David Gusta?
It was David Gusta.
I think that was David Gusta.
And he goes to the sideline. He gives his fellow D-tackle Dinenbu the big belly bump.
Yeah.
Both guys rocking the large belly look. You love a little extra padding on your defensive tackles. And I'm honestly shocked that they went to 2 straight passes on 2nd and 3rd, but all credit to WSUD.
4th and 8, the Broncos will be punting. Fair catch by, I believe,
It's Tony
by
Freeman returning,
yep,
but Josiah,
Tony Freeman.
at the back end of that play, it looked like the Boise State punter either got ran into or he came down awkwardly. But Josiah, I
he's
think,
hurt.
let me tell you what, Josiah, they didn't call a flag, and I think it's because WSU got a piece of that football.
I think they did.
I think that they got a piece of that football on the punt that time by punter
short.
James Ferguson Reynolds. And the punter for Boise State, Ferguson Reynolds, is now down on the field and being tended to. This is an interesting situation, Josiah, because Washington State, their punter Nick Hawbearer, who's one of the better ones in the country, he's been out all season.
Injured.
Janikowski's been punting this whole year. And now we might potentially have to see a backup punter situation for Boise State. How many times have you seen a dual backup punter game?
Not a ton. Yeah, and that kick.
And he's getting helped off with his arms around both guys, both trainers. He does not look good.
Looks to be that left, maybe foot or ankle. And the Broncos fan base is booing heavily. But it looked to be just like a football play. It didn't look to be anything intentional.
Well, yeah, it was definitely not intentional, Josiah. But let me tell you what, it's all, no matter whether it's intentional or not, if you run into the guy, it's a flag. But the reason it's not a flag is if you touch the ball, you can hit the punter as hard as you want.
Exactly.
And that ball was tipped because that punt, it was low, it was not very far, and I think that the refs ruled that WSU got a piece of that punt.
I think so as well. Yeah, and he was moving gingerly off the field, so it doesn't look like he's going to be coming back at all.
No, I would doubt it, Josiah, and that's potentially a big development for this game that
could be.
You know, I'm not saying the playing field was uneven because WSU doesn't have a punter. Obviously, they're 4-0 in games without a punter this season. But that obviously makes it a similar issue that both teams have now, so it'll be interesting to see how Boise State can handle it, because WSU has handled it pretty well this season. Dean Janikowski is only averaging 2 less yards per punt this season than Ferguson Reynolds, the punter for Boise State.
It's not bad
so
at all.
most kickers can still get the job done, and Janikowski's been practicing it for a month now.
I also wanted to go back right before the punt on that 4th down. You were briefly talking about those 2 missed opportunities, 2nd and 3rd down, that the Broncos intended some passes for, with Penry getting a few touches early into this ball game. It was intended on that last 3rd down, was broken up. You would think that with Genty, running that nearly 40, 50-yard touchdown, that they would try to go back to him.
Yeah.
I don't know, but.
Well, I think 3rd down and 8, it makes sense they go to the air, but I think 2nd down they were just trying to get too creative.
The Cougs will start the opening drive as Mateer will swing it over. Had a little bit of a space right there. Mateer will swing it over to Kyle Williams and will pick up the 1st down as the ball will be on the 45. Gain of about 10. Mateer in shotgun's going to hand it over to Parker, and he's going to be hit by, it looked like Hassanin maybe?
I think so.
Yeah.
And it looked like he got a little bit of help from his fellow safety coming up, Alexander Tubner, who's much more of a box safety type. And he was in there on that play too, but a gain of about 3 though.
Gonna bring up 2nd and 7, ball on the 48. Mateer in shotgun. Going to snap, drops back into the pocket. Mateer escaping. He's going to go to about the 50. Mateer to the 55, and it's going to get hit hard by, it looks to be the linebacker, the strong safety, Alexander Tubner.
Yeah, Tubner came up from behind him that time, and as he was getting hit low that time by the corner, Jeremiah Earby, he got hit from behind over the top by Tubner, so a little bit of extra contact, but another nice run by Mateer and another Cougar 1st down.
Cougs going to pick up that 1st down. It looks to be the officials kind of.
I think they're giving Boise State time for a substitution.
Yep.
Here. Looks like Braxton Feely's coming in.
The Cougs, Mateer's going to hand it off, and it's going to be about a gain of nothing. The handoff over to Leo Pulalasi, he's going to gain about maybe 2 or 3. It's going to bring up 2nd and 7.
Pulalasi has an interesting stretch, Josiah. Never has had a negative run in his entire career so far, just over a year in college.
Well, there's another one. 2nd and 7, Cougs 7-7, 8:40 left into the first quarter. Mateer in shotgun formation. He's going to drop out in the pocket and going to swing it over to Hudson. And he's going to pick up maybe 4, 3, not a ton.
Yeah, but it sets up a 3rd and manageable, which gives you options. And in opponent territory, this could be 4-down territory for Washington State. You could run whatever you want. They bring in 2 tight ends here, Josiah. And so it'll be interesting to see, is this a situation where you trust John Mateer with the football to just run it himself?
Ball is on the 42, 3rd and 3, as Mateer will be in shotgun formation. 3 receivers on his left side. Mateer's going to take it. He's going to try to take off, and it's close, but I think he's short about a yard.
Yeah, he was bouncing around in the backfield quite a bit. He might have gotten about half a yard, but it's still going to be about 2.5 to go. But this deep into Boise State territory at the 36, you have to go for it. You're not in field goal range, probably. It'd be about a 53-yard kick, which is really pushing it on the road.
This place is rocking right now with a big 4th down, and the Cougs are going to go for it. 4th and about 2. Mateer in shotgun formation. Mateer grabs the snap. He's going to drop back to the pocket. He's going to take off. And, oh, it looks like he's going to be short. He will be short, and it's going to be an exchange of downs, and Boise State's going to take it over.
Boise State, similar to Washington State, very smart defensively. They learned quickly that you have to put as many guys and as many eyes on John Mateer as you can, and they stuffed that. But unfortunately, it looks like it is a player down for Boise State, and it looks like it's your guy, Sheldon Newton.
Oh, no way.
The big defensive tackle.
With the single-digit number.
Former Northern Arizona transfer at nose tackle. He has 8 tackles, a sack, and a block kick so far this season.
Yeah, he's definitely grown over his career at Boise State. But, man, you'd hate to see a guy like that go down for their defensive line. Big component right there. He looks to be pretty shaken up.
Yeah, and
looks to be knee or ankle or something.
That's huge for the interior of that defensive line. A starter in Newton, because he is one of those space eaters that they use to occupy those 2 A-gaps on this Boise State defensive line. And they've done a nice job so far overall, outside of the 1 quarterback draw on the first play of the game for WSU against the inside run, in large part thanks to Newton. And it looks like they might be bringing out the truck here, Josiah.
Oh, no.
And you really don't want to see that.
You hate to see that. Goodness gracious.
Not only for this team and for all that goes along with that, Josiah, but, I mean, you just hate to see it for the Sheldon Newton, the guy. And it looks like he's denying the truck.
Yeah.
He's trying to walk it off, and you love to see it.
You love to see it. So he's putting pressure. Hopefully nothing extremely serious, but it looks like he's walking off with little to no help. But he's going to at least take a long break, and they're going to have to switch someone out at that nose tackle position.
Yeah, and if it's not him, it's usually going to be Herbert Gums.
Yep.
The big 6'1", 312-pounder in there. Couple of tackles this season. Fun fact about Herbert Gums, Josiah, back his sophomore year of high school, he was a running back, and he ended up running for 564 yards and 6 touchdowns as a sophomore in high school. And
that's insane.
Now he's 6'1", 312, playing nose tackle for a ranked Boise State team.
6'1", 312, and you score touchdowns.
So for all you kids out there that are at running back, don't forget that there could always be a future for you if your coach tells you that you're too slow and you love to eat.
I was told that quite a few times back in my day. So
yeah, I had some similar issues, you know. I mean, if you start getting into, some of this Boise food, Culver's, Chick-fil-A, you might be moving to D-tackle.
Oh, my goodness. If you guys have ever heard of Raising Cane's, a shout-out to them. Another great
shout-out. Sponsor KUGR. What are we doing?
What are we doing?
Love to see some Cane's sponsorship.
Love to see it. The Broncos will be taking over. Ball will be on the 36. Madsen will be in shotgun formation. Genty to his left. Madsen, handoff right to Genty. Is going to be brought down by a string of Cougs and gain maybe one.
Really great first contact there by the linebacker Keith Brown, a former four-star Oregon recruit who transferred here from Louisville this season.
Madsen under center. He's going to fake it off to Genty, swing it over to Cam Camper, who is still running to the 40, and is going to be brought down around the 35, 34-yard line. A nice little drop back pass swinging over to the right side of the field for Cam Camper.
Cam Camper, Indiana transfer. He's been nice for them so far this season. Gets him into WSU territory.
Ball now on the 35 for the Broncos. Madsen's handoff to Genty, and he's only going to pick up two. The Cougs doing a great job of trying to stop Genty and this run offense.
Excellent backside pursuit by Quinn Roth, who dealt with a number of injuries last year, but he's made a couple of really big plays this season. The senior edge with another big-time play there.
2nd and 9. Madsen's going to fake the handoff to Genty. Is going to swing it over. It's going to be intercepted by the Cougs. Ball was bobbled up, and it's going to be a great pickoff by the free safety. Tyson Durant's going to come up with the football, and the Cougs are going to intercept it.
Tyson Durant, the one-man show. And they tried to bring him in all the way across the formation. A great pickup underneath by WSU. They try to go to the tight end, who Durant has underneath coverage on. He tips it in the air, and then he dives and catches it himself. What an amazing individual effort by the Akron transfer, Tyson Durant, who's playing in another electric atmosphere here at Boise State. And huge credit on that play to Adrian Wilson, the safety, with the great underneath coverage to take away the first read for Maddox Madsen. And now another great opportunity here for Mateer.
It was a great read. It was kind of intended for Austin Bolt, bobbled up, and Durant's going to come down with the football. Cougs now on the 27, going to bring out 1st and 10 after that huge pick. Mateer draws back in the pocket, looking for receivers. There's going to be pressure by, looks like, Hassan. He's going to try to swing it out to, looks like, Parker. But the ball's going to be bobbled down, and it's going to bring up 2nd and 10.
Just threw it at the legs of his running back that time because he had no option. And Hassanin has just been all over the field so far today. Also, Boise State with a couple of really nice rangy linebackers in Andrew Simpson and Marco Nocerini. And so they have some really nice playmakers in that front 7. Secondary is really where you want to attack.
Ball still on the 27. Mateer in the shotgun. Motion by, looked like, Parker. Mateer's going to swing it over to Trey Shackelford for a gain of about 2, 3.
They're calling it a gain of 1.
Oh, yeah.
And it was Tubner again, and that's that pump fake again, that little mid-screen running into the middle of the field by Shackelford, and Tubner read it like a book.
Going to bring up 3rd and 9 for the Cougs. Still ball on about the 26. 7-7 ball game. About 5 minutes left into the first quarter. Mateer in shotgun formation. He's going to snap it off, drops back into the pocket, trying to escape. A lot of pressure. Is ultimately going to be sacked by, looked like, Hassanin. Nope. Going to be the big D tackle.
That's
number
Gums.
98, Herbert Gums, who came in for the nose that just recently got hurt, Sheldon Newton.
Yeah, Herbert Gums, career high in sacks in a season is 1.5 back in 22. He had a half sack last year. That's his first sack this year. And really nice interior pressure by Gums. Mateer was looking every which way for a way to escape the pocket, and he could not find one.
Janikowski going to punt from about the 26. And the punt is going to be caught and taken off as the Cougs are going to make a great tackle. Punt was received by number 18.
They, I believe, have a specialty punt returner.
Number 18, Cooper Jones, it looks like the receiver. He's going to get the punt and got a gain of maybe about a yard or two. Ball's going to be brought down the Cougs, and the ball will be about on the 27.
Well, he had to have realized he should have fair caught that when he looked up and saw 5 or 6 white jerseys surrounding every inch of turf in front of him. See if the Cougs can continue to shut down this run game like they have the last 2 drives.
First and 10 for the Broncos, 7-7, 4 minutes left in the first quarter. Madsen's going to get the shotgun snap, drop back into the pocket, and he's going to look for the big tight end, Matt Lauder, who's going to pick up a gain of about 9. Going to bring up 2nd and 1 for the Broncos.
Lauder, career high, 7 catches for 91 yards and a touchdown last week. 7 catches and 91 yards were both single game highs for his career. He was targeted heavily early in that Portland State game. They love to bring him across the formation in all kinds of routes and use him as a check down option.
Madsen under center, Genty in the backfield. Motion from, and Madsen's going to hand it off to Genty. Going to pick up the first down, but Genty only gained about maybe 2 yards or so.
Really nice breakthrough there by Dinenbu on the left side of the offensive line. He cuts it back, and then it was the safety Adrian Wilson with a really nice ankle tackle to trip up Genty for a minimal gain, but he does get that first down.
Ball's going to now be on the 38, 3 minutes left, still a tie ball game. Madsen under center. First and 10 for the Broncos. Madsen's going to take the snap, give it right to Genty, and stuffed by a sea of white. And the officials will blow the whistle, but no gain on the play from Ashton Genty. And we haven't seen him.
Dude.
I don't want to say anything, but not a ton from that initial play to start off the game.
75 yards on that first drive, and since then he's pretty much only gone nowhere and backwards, that time losing 4 yards. Really great push by the defensive line of the Cougars.
2nd and 14, Madsen in shotgun. Fake claps the snap. Second slap, he's going to drop back in the pocket, and the ball is underthrown, intended for the receiver, number 1, Jabriz Dubar, but ultimately underthrown, going to bring up 3rd and 14.
Yeah, Dubar's a guy that we didn't look at a ton, but he is just another weapon in kind of this deep arsenal for Boise State that, you know, even if you aren't looking at the whole thing, they kind of break out these weapons from their back pocket when you least expect it.
Tie game, Madsen the shotgun, 3rd and 14. Madsen's going to drop out of the pocket, and it's going to be nearly picked off, but it looks like Penry was going to pick it up. Nearly picked off and going to get a first down for the Broncos. The ball will now be on the 49-yard line. Gain of about 15 yards.
Yeah, that ball should have been tipped, and then there was the hit on the back end, and it looked like both DBs for WSU were pursuing the ball. It ends up being caught, and obviously a first down.
Still 7-7, minute 33 left as we near the end of the first quarter. Madsen under center, Camper in motion. Madsen's going to fake it off to Genty. He's going to throw it over to the big tight end, number 85, for a throw of about 25-yard lines. A big first down, and it's going to bring them down onto the 20. Matt Lauder, a huge catch for him as the Broncos are now into the red zone.
Lauder was wide open up the seam that time, and the biggest area where the WSU defense has struggled this year besides tackling is coverage from their linebackers, and it was Kyle Thornton who was confused and turned around that time, allowing that catch. Luckily, he tracks him down, but a big gain.
Madsen in shotgun formation. Genty to his left, Lauder in motion. He's going to hand it off to Genty, who is going to gain about 4 or 5. Brought down by a sea of Cougs. Ball will be on the 16. Bring up 2nd and about 6.
And that's a little bit more of a productive run, but I'm surprised they keep using Genty in between the tackles. They haven't tried to pitch it or find ways to get him in open space. And right now the WSU defensive line has done a nice job on the interior sealing up those A and B gaps, but C-gaps and on the perimeter has been where the issues have come.
Matson in shotgun formation. Camper in motion. Shotgun stamp, handoff to Genty. He's going to cut back into the middle again and is not going to pick up anything. Brings up 3rd and 6.
What a great job by the safety Jackson Latai-Mua and the linebacker Keith Brown again. And Keith Brown has made a couple of really nice run stops so far today against Genty. So far his angles have been superior and he's just shown amazing effort. And a nice play there to end that first quarter for WSU. And we'll see how this defense can hold up in the red zone when we get into the second quarter.
The Cougs right now, still tied right now, 7-7 ball game. And yeah, Luke, I mean, it's just really interesting to see how the Cougs have been able to handle these Broncos offense. And we're going to get right back into it. Start second quarter. Luke will be coming with you with the play-by-play. We are here in Albertson Stadium. You are listening to KUGR Student Radio.
Lots of early action on the ground so far between Washington State and Boise State here from Boise, Idaho. Albertson Stadium here in the Battle of the Snake River. Boise State and Maddox Manson with the football on a 3rd down and 5 from the Washington State 16-yard line. They motion Lauder left. Manson rolling to his left. He sets his feet, looking to the end zone, runs up the middle, hit, drop by Edson, fumbles the football. There's a pile on the field, and not sure who came up with it. And they're saying that it was a fumble, but recovered by Boise State. It was a really nice hit off the edge by the edge rusher, Andrew Edson, but they say Boise State got it, and they'll send out the field goal unit from the 12-yard line for a 29-yard kick.
What a huge play when Matson's trying to take off, and the Cougs are able to not only make a big tackle, but as well as force a fumble.
Dalmas, the kicker this season, is 1 of 1 from inside of 30. 56 yards is his career long, and the kick is blocked, but it somehow sneaks through the uprights. It was tipped by Ansel Diddenboo, who is fired up on the field, but it somehow still sneaks through for a good field goal. So Boise State, with 14:11 left in the second quarter, takes a 10-7 lead over Washington State. We'll be right back with you from Boise, Idaho on KUGR. Squared away and ready for kickoff here in the second quarter. Boise State ready to boot this one deep. Back deep for Washington State, Leighton Smithson. It's a 10-7 Boise State lead with 14:11 left to go here in the second quarter on the Smurf turf of Boise, Idaho at Albertson Stadium. Luke Westfall, Josiah Frank back on the call for KUGR. And it's Jonah Dalma as the kicker for Boise State, who gets a nice run up, boots this one deep. And making the catch in the end zone, but taking a knee is Leighton Smithson. John Mateer and the Cougar offense to bring it back out. And Josiah, an electric first drive, 55-yard run on the first play from scrimmage. Since then, it's been a little bit rough trying to find running lanes, and a sack as well on that last drive against Mateer.
Absolutely. We had this electric first quarter here at Albertson Stadium. But after that huge drive by Mateer, nearly 50-plus yards, it's kind of slowed down a ton. So we're hoping to see if we can get some of that magic back as we bring up first down.
So far, Mateer 4 of 5 passing, 32 yards and a touchdown, 5 runs for 55 yards. As we start the second quarter with Mateer in the gun, Wayshawn Parker to his right, and a flag is already coming out, and it's a delay of game. And that's only going to get this crowd even louder. It didn't look like Mateer was even kind of ready to snap that football. They're going to trot him 5 yards back here. The Boise State defense trying to get their crowd even louder. It's going to be 1st and 15 from their own 20 here for Mateer. 3 wide receivers right. Mateer, fake handoff, throws it out the flat right side. Williams catches it, crosses the 20, pushed out of bounds at about the 24-yard line. They actually mark him out at the 23. So he picks up 3 yards on first down, and it'll be 2nd and 12. Going to the up-tempo here. Mateer switching things up. 3 wide receivers left, including Shackelford. 2 wide receivers on the right side. On the far side of the field is Wayshawn Parker. Mateer from an empty set, throws right side, it's caught, advancing it up across the 30 to about the 33-yard line. Looked like was Kyle Williams again.
Yeah, he was brought down by a Marion McCoy, one of the few cornerbacks that Boise State has that took him down there.
So Parker comes into the game here for Freeman with Cooper Mathers, the tight end, checking in. It's going to be a 3rd down and 2 here for Washington State, trying to keep this drive alive. Boise State with a 4-man defensive front. No high safeties here. Mateer, handoff up the middle, Stoff. Parker driven back for a loss of a yard. An absolute stuff that time by the linebacker Marco Nocerini. And Washington State going backwards on 3rd down and now punting this football away. Still down 10-7 with under 13 minutes to go in the 2nd quarter.
Yeah, and I don't know if you noticed, Luke, but this place is electric. And I know we've been reiterating that a ton, but the minute this place got loud for that huge 3rd and 2 opportunity, we couldn't get it done.
Crowd has been hard to handle so far for Washington State as they motion a couple extra up men into the backfield here for the punt. Janikowski with his heels on the Cougar 18. And we have a penalty, and that's going to be another delay of game. The 2nd delay of game of the drive for Washington State. And Josiah, a week ago, in the game against San Jose State, the penalty battle, Washington State had 12 penalties for 109 yards to San Jose State's 2 for 15. So something to watch for sure.
Could definitely be scary as we get later into this ball game.
His heels now on the 12-yard line. Janikowski to punt. A clean snap. He puts his right foot through it, and this one shanked short. Coming up to make the catch at the 39-yard line, the punt returner Cooper Jones, that is, and he actually took a little extra step there to the 40 that they give to him. So Maddox Manson, Ashton, Genty, and the Boise State offense will get going from their own 40-yard line with a 10-7 lead and 12:06 left in the 2nd period.
I'm really hoping that the Cougs, especially their defensive line, can continue to contain Ashton Genty kind of in this box. Besides that huge play in the 1st quarter, we really haven't seen this, not even really arguably the best running back in the nation. Like, this guy, Heisman candidate, resume 1.5 miles long, and besides that electric play early into the 1st quarter, we haven't seen really any of that. So hopefully we can continue to hold him into that box and continue to provide pressure for Madsen, for Genty, and really kind of lock down on that.
On the first offensive drive of the game, Genty 4 runs for 75 yards. He only has 11 yards on his last 6 carries since then, including one of his runs, that 64-yard touchdown score. So far, Washington State, outside of 1 or 2 runs in this game, has done a nice job holding up against Genty, but they have been hit by the play-action bootleg game of Madsen and some of these receivers, especially their tight end, Matt Lauder, who got involved a lot last week. He's gotten involved this week so far with a couple of catches for 40 yards. And overall, Boise State has done a nice job capitalizing on what they've been given by Washington State, but Washington State, even though they did give up a few plays on that last drive, including the field goal, they held tough in the red zone. And Josiah, they've only given up 3 points since that long touchdown run on the first drive of the game to Genty, so they've done a pretty nice job limiting a Boise State offense that so far this season is averaging over 48 points per game.
Yeah, someone also that we haven't really seen get a lot of touches, Latrell Caples, who's been a staple in their offense. I don't think he's had a reception tonight.
Caples has not had a single target yet tonight. The redshirt senior out of Lancaster, Texas. So it'll be Madsen, Genty in the offense getting going here. Cam Camper is in the game, as well as the tight end, Matt Wegner, against this WSU defense as they get their huddle set. Ball will be at their own 40-yard line. Also splitting out is the wide receiver, Austin Bolt, for Boise State, and the tight end, Matt Lauder. So a 2 tight end set, 1 each side. Single back set to the right of a shotgun formation here for Madsen. 2 receivers left. He goes play action to Genty, looking deep, throwing deep left side, incomplete. He threw it just past the outstretched Austin Bolt. And that was great coverage on that play. One-on-one that time by Steve Hall, who had the upper hand on Bolt.
What an amazing coverage right there that thankfully was overthrown just a little bit, but just great coverage over there to not get a big play.
Prince Strawn checks in at wide receiver here for Boise State. Another shotgun formation is now a last-second change here at the line by Madsen. From the shotgun, he moves Genty to his right. Single back set. Handoff left side, Genty cuts off one defender, and then an excellent tackle at the legs by Wilson initially, but he stayed on his feet, pushing forward to the 46, and there is a flag down from the umpire well behind that play. We'll see what the call is, but it ended up being a run of about 6.
Looked to be Boise State. They're marching backwards, which would be great for the Cougs.
They're marching backwards, and it must have been something with the offensive line or something in the blocking there.
Maybe a hold.
Couldn't see what it was.
Yep. Appears to be a hold.
Yeah, it was, and it was on the receiver, Chase Penry, who's had a much bigger impact so far today. Redshirt junior out of Denver, Colorado transfer. He was part of that annex of Colorado players when Dion came in and said, you guys are all out of here. I'm bringing in my own guys. Penry was one of those guys, and he's trying to find his role on this Boise State team, but now it's going to be 2nd down and 20 from the Boise State 30. 4-man front here for WSU. Single high safety. Madsen drops the throw, looks left, throws underneath, caught Penry, and a great shoulder tackle down around the thigh by looked like Latai Mua, who I think is the one that is down now on the field. Couldn't quite see though if that was Latai Mua or maybe Kapenagushikin. Can't see the number from this angle, but it was an excellent tackle, and it was Latai Mua, the safety, coming up. He kind of just threw the shoulder that time at the tight end, or excuse me, at the receiver. And unfortunately, he's banged up on this play. A really nice tackle and a good situation for the WSU defense. 3rd and 17 from the Boise State 33, and still a 10-7 game with Boise State on top, Josiah. But obviously, you hate to see any more injuries to a WSU secondary that's still trying to recover from their starting corner, Jamari Coulson, who they haven't had all season.
Yeah, great play, and it looks like he is walking off the field. Not super gingerly, not a ton of help needed. Hopefully just kind of banged up, maybe, hit a funny bone or something like that, where he can be back maybe in this next defensive series.
It is good to see him walking off, but it looks like he might kind of be tending to that left shoulder.
Oh, boy.
And so you hate to see that. Yeah. Kapenagushikin checks into the game for WSU. Steve Hall, Ethan O'Connor, the 2 boundary corners, safeties Adrian Wilson and Tyson Durant. Mentioned Jamari Coulson, starting corner for WSU at the end of last season, expected to come back after the bye week for WSU's matchup on the road against Fresno State, but as of now, they're dealing with what they got. 3rd down and 17 from their own 33 here for Madsen and the Boise State offense. Cougs looking to get out the field. Madsen pressured right side, throws in the direction of Genty, incomplete. Pressure in the face that time by the Utah Tech transfer Cyrus Webster, and WSU getting off the field in quick work, forcing a punt here on 4th down and long.
Man, the Cougs just solidifying themselves on defense with some of these huge key plays that has not only kept in this ball game but made it super interesting.
So it is Tony Freeman back to return from the Cougar 22. And it looks like it is Jonah Dalmas, the kicker, punting here for Boise State. Puts a foot through this, and it is a short one.
Oh, yeah.
Bounces out of bounds at pretty much exactly the 35-yard line. So it had a little bit of extra carry at the end, but it was an archer for sure. So Washington State Cougar offense will start things up from inside their own 40-yard line offensively after this, trying to get things going. Neither team with a touchdown since their opening drive of the game. 10-7 Boise State lead with 11:04 left in the second quarter. You're listening to Cougar football on KUGR. A little bit more defense than expected. 10-7 ball game with 11:07 here in the second quarter. Both teams in this game a touchdown on their opening drives and only 3 total points since. Cougars trying to come back from a 3-point hole. They start offensively from their own 36-yard line for this drive. Empty formation here for quarterback John Mateer. 3 receivers right, 2 left. 4-man front for Boise State. 4-man rush. Mateer throws quick right side into the slot. Caught. Freeman up across the 45-yard line to the 48 for a first down, and the Cougs are going to go up tempo here as Freeman and Kyle Williams switch sides. This time trips left with the wide side of the field. Still an empty formation here for Mateer and a 6-man Boise State front. And that time Mateer drew a man off sides. Free play here for Washington State. Mateer avoiding traffic, throws downfield, just through the outstretched arms of a leaping Tony Freeman. But it was a free play, and so Washington State's going to get 5 yards anyways.
Man, you love to see this tempo, quick-paced offense that Mateer is running.
Yeah, and they were able to get Braxton Feely, the big D tackle, to jump off sides that time. And now it's Hassanin who checks back into the game for Boise State, their big defensive playmaker. So it's a first down and 5 from the Boise State 47 for Mateer. Single back set. Parker to his left, trips left. Single tight end. Mateer, wide snap, hands it off Parker, makes a man miss, cuts left side, cross the 40, bounces again, 35-30, trotting out of bounds, finally pushed out of bounds at about the 26-yard line, and some extra scrappiness at the end of that play. A strong finish on the tackle out of bounds, but Wayshawn Parker, the electric true freshman running back, taking Washington State all the way down to the 26.
Yeah, big play. He was brought down by Devon Banks, and they were kind of chirping on the sidelines a little bit, kind of scrapping a little bit.
A couple of WSU players maybe not too happy with that late tackle there, that late finish. First and 10 from the 26. Cougs down 10-7 with 10 minutes left to go, second quarter. Mateer single back set. Play action, looking deep, left side, throwing end zone. No, and he threw it behind Kyle Williams, and it's incomplete. He had him open deep, and if he puts that ball over the top, Josiah, it's probably a touchdown, but instead it falls to the ground incomplete.
Most definitely a touchdown. If that ball was maybe just a few yards and could just teardrop its way in, oh my goodness, we're up right now.
In coverage that time, the WSU or the UW Husky transfer Davon Banks. So an interesting matchup there. Empty formation for Mateer, trips right, deuces left. Mateer drops to throw, looking, fires left sideline, caught and out of bounds. Kyle Williams at the 19. And he was a little upset with himself that he didn't turn that thing upfield. He had some space, but it's a 7-yard pickup and a good second down gain.
I was going to say a lot of green grass, but a lot of blue grass.
That's right.
If he could get up, maybe grab a few more to grab that first down.
Lots of sea out in front of him.
Exactly, a lot of water.
Trips right here on 3rd down and 3 from the Boise State 19-yard line. Single back set, it's Pulalasi. One wide receiver wide left. Late change here from Mateer with 7 left on the play clock, and they probably are going to have to use a timeout, and they will. Jake Dickert right on it. And WSU is going to use a timeout. This is a huge play to try and keep this drive alive. They'll talk things over, but Josiah, as they're talking this over, 3rd and 3 from the 19. They struggled in short yardage with the run earlier on a drive where they ended up going 4 and out. So what kind of play do you want to see him do here to maybe get creative and catch this defense off guard?
You know, like you just mentioned, the short run has not been to our advantage this game. So I would love it if maybe Parker can maybe peel out and maybe catch a little 5 and out or something like that. Or maybe, you know, we target Freeman. Maybe we target Williams, you know, or something like that where we could just pick up a few and then maybe, you know, we can have a little play action, have Mateer running right down the middle or something like that for a touchdown.
It'll be interesting to see what they do. It's Mateer and Pulalasi that come out here. 2 wide receivers on both sides of the formation. Hudson and Meredith to the right. Kyle Williams and Tony Freeman to the left. Crowd getting jacked up here. 7 men in the box for Boise State. from the shotgun. Mateer on 3rd and 3. An early start, and that's going to be a false start.
Yeah, and I saw it. I believe it was the right guard, Brock Dew. Don't quote me on that, but it looked like he moved just a half a second too quick.
We'll get the call.
Yep.
And you're right, it was Brock Dew, the right guard, and so WSU now brings in the tight end Cooper Mathers for the slot man Tony Freeman for 3rd and 8. WSU, a lot of movement in their offensive line throughout the season, trying to get their star right tackle Fa'alili Fa'amoe back in, but it's Hilborn at right tackle right now, Rod Tialavea at left guard. 2 receivers right, tight end on the right side of the line. Williams, the lone receiver, left in a single back formation for Mateer. And it looks like they might be holding up play here. And now they're going to let it roll. Play clock set back to 25 as it runs. John Mateer drops, rolling right, blocked from Pululasi, throws right sideline, caught Meredith, and he gets pushed back. He's going to be about 2 yards short at the 18, and it's decision time again here for Dickert, and it looks like they're going to go for it.
Yeah, I really think they have nothing to lose. 10-7 ball game. There's a lot left in this quarter, 9 minutes left.
But here at the last second, they're going to send out the field goal unit. And Josiah, any thought that because they failed earlier on 4th down that they send out the field goal unit here? They are down by 3.
Right, and I love Janikowski, but he has missed a few, so we'll see.
4 of 6 on field goals this season, but hit from 52 last week to send it to OT. This one from 35. Late rusher off the edge. Janikowski gets it away, and it's good. So how about Dean Janikowski, the kickoff man, the punter, and now the place kicker, ties this game up at 10 apiece. And here in this Battle of the Snake River on the Smurf turf, we are once again tied up, this time at 10 with 8:27 left to go here, second quarter. And Josiah, both defenses all of a sudden a little stiffer, especially in the red zone. Is it still a game of Genty and John Mateer, or are we going to need to see maybe someone we weren't talking about start to blow this one open offensively?
Honestly, I think that is the biggest thing that has happened in this game, that a lot of people that we really haven't been focused on or hasn't gotten a ton of shine are really succeeding in this ball game. A lot of people are getting different touches. Mateer's not running as much, and Genty's definitely not getting off, averaging those 190 yards or whatever he's been doing nearly every game, leading the nation.
Back to return for Boise State is the true freshman Cameron Bates, 5'10", 170-pounder, who ran the fastest 300-meter hurdle in the nation last year in high school at 36:55.
Goodness gracious.
Janikowski to kick it away. It is off. Returned from a step deep, bringing it out, crossing the 10, stopped at the 15, still on his feet, but finally dropped at the 18-yard line. Really nice special teams effort that time by running back Dylan Payne. Boise State's going to be behind the 8 ball at their own 18-yard line for the next offensive drive.
And something we've been preaching about is, can the Coug defense continue what they're doing, slow down Genty, and try to keep Madsen in that pocket and make him a little bit nervous. He's been underthrowing balls, overthrowing balls, and not hitting his targets.
4-man front here for WSU defensively. Boise State comes out in the pistol with Genty behind Madsen. He hands it off left side, stuffed at the line by Kyle Thornton. And what a great stop by Washington State on first down, no gain, but the linebacker Buda Alukta is a little bit gimpy here after the play. He's limping around, and it looks like they might send in Adrian Wilson here.
He is limping.
To give Buda Alukta a playoff, but nope. Looks like Alukta is going to stay on the field.
Yeah, it almost looks like he kind of shrugged him off, like he's good.
Yeah, shrugged him off. Now 2 receivers right, 1 left. Genty in the backfield with Matt Lauder, the tight end to the right here for quarterback Madsen out of the shotgun. Drops to throw, looking left, now looking right. Over the middle, he finds a man. It's Camper, brought down by Tanner Moku, the safety, after a pickup of 12 up to the 30-yard line of Boise State first down.
Yeah, Cam Camper, who hasn't seen a ton of spotlight either, with Penry getting a lot of the touches, picking up a first down for the Broncos.
Full defensive line rotation here for WSU of Laufau, Edson, Lamb, and Webster. Moku coming out here for Wilson. 2 receivers left, single tight end set, 1 receiver right. Under center here, Madsen turns around, goes play action, looking left side. It's a screen pass, and it is dropped by Matt Lauder, and I'm not sure how you drop that.
I don't know.
Looked like he looked upfield a little too early, but there is a flag behind the play, and we'll see what that's about.
Goodness gracious. I mean, it was wide open and just slipped out of his hands that he had a lot of bluegrass ahead of him.
And it looks like they're going to say it's going to be a holding on Boise State. It's going to be on the right tackle, Hall Schmidt. That one lineman we talked about wasn't a part of that offensive line last year. And Josiah on their last drive, they got well behind the sticks due to a penalty, and now they're well behind the sticks again here on 1st and 20.
Yeah, this offensive line, they're studs, but, you know, usually not making mistakes like that, but it happens.
So it's a single tight end set here for Boise State. From the shotgun, Madsen drops to throw, looking over the middle, now tucking it to run, nearly evading a tackle, and finally brought down by the shoelaces by, it looked like it was linebacker Parker McKenna, the Portland State transfer. Portland State, a team that both of these two teams have had their fun playing so far this season, beating them in blowout fashion. And it was McKenna who makes the tackle that time on Madsen with some sneaky athleticism.
Oh, yeah. Had a little bit. Maybe not Mateer, but it's something.
2nd and 15 from their own 25. Madsen from the shotgun again. Genty to his right. They haven't gone to Genty nearly as much. Madsen again drops to throw, throws it out right side, swing pass to Genty in the open space, hurdles a defender, and then gets popped out of bounds at the 33-yard line. He hurdled Steve Hall and then took a big-time hit from Tyson Durant. And so it's a nice gain that time, 8 yards, but the flash on the hurdle by Genty takes a big shot out of bounds, but man, Genty just so good at making guys miss. But he paid for it at the end.
Oh, yeah. An athlete, for sure.
10-10 tie, 5:45 left to go. 3rd and 7 from their own 33 here for Boise State. WSU bringing 4 on the blitz. Madsen to throw. Looking at the middle. Evades one tackle. He's got space. He's got the 40. He's got the 44. And he's got a first down up to the 45-yard line. That time WSU so focused in coverage they forgot about Madsen again, and every time it seems like WSU bottles up another aspect of this offense, Boise State unleashes another. Genty checks out of the game now. And it's the running back Jambres Dubar who checks in to the left. Play action, looking deep, going deep, flags down, incomplete, too far out of the reach of Austin Bolt, and I think that's going to be PI on somebody, but it looked like there was some mutual contact.
It looks pretty early. They threw those penalty flags before they were really even taking off, so maybe some
It looked like Bolt
PI?
had extension.
Yeah.
But they're going to say it was actually holding on Ethan O'Connor, the corner who was trying to cover Bolt. And I know this maybe isn't as relevant, but Josiah, interesting that we have not seen Latrell Caples on the field yet today.
At all. So I don't know if something has happened or they are trying to completely flip the script. But Latrell Caples has been, for the last 3 weeks for Boise State, a key component of their offense.
They've used a lot of Bolt. They've used a lot of Penry and a lot of tight ends. But so far, we haven't seen Caples, and once again, it's Dubar in the backfield here for Boise State. 1st and 10 from the Cougar 45. They motion Bolt wide left under center. Handoff Dubar, and he gets wrapped up in the backfield for a loss of a yard. It's a trio of Cougs in there, and it looks like coming out of the pile, and who will credit with the tackle, is going to be Bryson Lamb, the big DT. Nusi Milani in there as well. But good gang tackling so far by WSU. And for whatever reason, they were able to get Genty out of the game for a couple of plays, but he's back in here for 2nd and 11. Single back set from the shotgun to the right of Madsen. 1 tight end on the right side, 3 wide receivers, 2 left. Madsen now, quick throw over the middle, caught by Penry. Immediately brought down by Kapenagushikin. But that's a gain of 9, and it'll be 3rd and 2 from the Cougar 37. And now we get a whistle here. And their refs are forcing some kind of a stoppage. No official signal. Looks like they're replaying it. Not sure what for.
Maybe like a spot.
Could be a spot.
For the marker.
Didn't sound like they said targeting. WSU defense going right back on the field. And yes, it looks like they maybe did review it for a spot.
Also looked to be maybe an injured player on the field.
Okay.
Looks to be...
I think Durant came out of the game.
Durant. I think it was Durant.
It almost looked like the ref was saying that they got a call from upstairs, maybe about one of those head injury rules.
Could have been.
Heavy formation, 3rd and 2, WSU 37. They pitch Genty right side. He gets the corner and he's knocked out of bounds. Hit really hard by Tanner Moku, nearly taking out head coach Jake Dickert. But it's a 1st down for Boise State at the WSU 27.
Yeah, he's been blasted a few times, making a few, key plays, but even that one where he can cut up, picking a 1st down, but he's getting hit outside.
He got upright at the end of that run, and he got hit really hard by Moku. Under 4 minutes to go, a 10-10 tie. Boise State 1st and 10 now from the WSU 28. Madsen, play action, looking deep, going deep for Bolt. Incomplete off the fingertips. And there's the flag. What'd you see on that play, Josiah?
No.
Was there a flag on that play?
Luke, if I'm being honest, I don't know if that was enough to maybe throw the flag.
Yeah.
I mean, there definitely was contact, but I don't know how illegal it was. Yeah.
And it was a personal foul that time on WSU. And yeah.
I just think that's so...
I don't really see the flag though, Josiah.
I guess I'm assuming that, but the ball's already thrown.
Maybe the late shove at the end there.
Yeah, the late shove at the end. If he would have just let him go, that ball was overthrown.
Late shove at the end, but it seems like they usually let him play with that contact at the end. Nonetheless, it is a half the distance to the goal penalty. Boise State sets up from the WSU 14 under center Madsen. Goes handoff left side, Genty. Cuts through a couple of defenders, breaks 2 more tackles. Still on his feet, and he reaches for the end zone for a touchdown. 14-yard touchdown run by the unstoppable Ashton Genty. And it's a 16-10 Boise State lead with 3:19 left to go in the 1st half.
I hope, we've been talking about him all night, that we didn't awaken the beast, because he just ran over about 4 or 5 Cougs.
Well, I can only say that the beast was taking a quick nap. Dalma's on for the extra point, and the nation's point leader puts it through. It's a 17-10 Boise State lead with 3:19 left to go here in the 1st half. Ashton Genty, how many tackles did you count? I counted at least 5 on that 14-yard touchdown run, his 2nd of the day. And Ashton Genty has surpassed 100 yards, 13 carries for 109 and 2 touchdowns. And the Boise State Heisman candidate continues to dominate on the ground, finishing off a 9-play, 52-yard scoring drive. The WSU will now try and respond from. And Josiah, that's only the 2nd touchdown of the day for Boise State, their 1st since their 1st drive. And on their 1st touchdown, WSU responded immediately with a touchdown. So does that maybe light a fire underneath this WSU offense?
I hope so. I really do hope so, that, you know, we've been able to bounce back every single time and try to match scores and keep this game not only relatively close, but tied for nearly the entire football game. So I'm just hoping that we can continue to do that, and maybe in these last 3 minutes get something going, at least get a few points, but we'll see.
Kickoff man Jarrett Reeser is out to boot it away for Boise State. Leighton Smithson back to return from the goal line. On his way, and the kickoff by Reeser will go through the back of the end zone, bouncing over the Broncos R, and it'll be John Mateer and the WSU offense from their own 25-yard line. A field goal that tied the game by WSU before Boise State took that lead right back. And so far, Mateer, 8 of 10, 66 yards and a touchdown. And on the ground, he's got 55 yards, but it hasn't looked as smooth as it looks in the box score. Mateer sets up, single back, now motioning out wide right is Parker to an empty formation. Trips right here from Mateer. Drops to throw, quick throw right, into the slot, it's caught, and crossing the boundary barely by the inch of the football for a first down is Chris Hudson. So good first play, and staying ahead of the chains, WSU will pick up the tempo. Trips left, single back Parker, Hudson to the right. Four-man front here for Boise State with a single off-ball linebacker. Parker moves to the right of Mateer. Drops to throw. Parker goes out to the right. Underneath. Caught Hudson. Makes a man miss. Cuts over to the Bronco logo, and he's down, tripping himself up at the 48-yard line. Another nice quick pass to the electric Chris Hudson.
Yeah, Chris Hudson again just being electric, and you saw him trip up. I know he wanted to have a few more yards on that play.
Tight end Andre Dollar checks in on the left side of the line. Trips left with Hudson, Meredith, and Williams. Parker still in the game with Mateer. Still a four-man front here. Single high safety for Boise State. And it looked like somebody moved, and it might have been the right tackle, Fa'amoe. And it was. And they've been rotating, Josiah, and as a right tackle yourself, I mean, I have to imagine it's not easy as a right tackle, no matter how talented you are, or any offensive lineman, when you're in and out of the lineup with all the different cadences and formations and play calls out there.
Super difficult. You know, as an offensive lineman, your number one job, as it looks like we're going to take a timeout here.
Yeah.
2-minute timeout. But anyway, you know, as an offensive line, your primary job is to, one, protect the quarterback, and to, two, you know, run the play correctly. And sometimes the cadence, the call, you know, which snap it's going to be on, which number, sometimes those things are a past thought because you're trying to remember a play or a specific formation or scheme and how the defenses line up. There's so many things that have to go through your head, especially as a tackle.
Especially when you're lining up against the Boise State team that has been one of the best in the nation at sacking defenses. 4 sacks in all 3 of the first 3 games of their season so far, Josiah. So you're also worrying about the guys on the other side of the field who have been electric, multiple sacks from multiple different players. But we'll take a short break here. 2-minute timeout in its first year of existence. Checking in for its first appearance here from Boise. It's a 17-10 Bronco lead. 2 minutes left to go first half. WSU with the football. You're listening to Cougar Football on KUGR. Back on the Smurf turf, 2 minutes left to go first half. WSU with a 1st and 15 from their own 43-yard line. Empty formation here for John Mateer and the Cougar offense. Trips left, 2 receivers right. 5-man front, they bring the blitz off the right edge. Mateer steps up, throws over the middle, it's caught. Still running with it, finally being pushed back and brought down is Chris Hudson, who's been Mateer's #1 target on this drive. And he advances it to Boise State territory to their 46. Up tempo here under 2 minutes. Every first down will stop the clock. Mateer drops to throw, looks left. Now reassessing, running right, directing receivers, throwing right side, sideline toe tap, catch by Hudson. He's been everywhere on this drive, and there he is with the finesse. Little toe drag sway.
2 great plays by Hudson, who's just been all over the place on the Smurf turf.
And down to the Boise State 37. He went out of bounds, so the clock stops at 1:32. WSU with 2 timeouts, Boise State with 3. Mateer dropping to throw against the blitz. He gets hit and he's dropped all the way back at the 45-yard line by Ahmad Hassanin.
Luke, we've been talking about him. You know, one, that amazing name, hard to pronounce, but it's so cool. The native from Egypt originally.
Yeah.
He's an amazing, not only athlete on the field, but an amazing guy off the field as well. Resume super long.
He had 16 tackles for loss and 12.5 sacks last year. That sack for Hassanin is his 3rd of the season. Mateer from 2nd and 18. Looking over the middle, caught by Meredith. He makes 1-man miss, and he's all the way down to the 33. So a nice 2nd down pickup. He gets all of that negative yardage back and then some. And it's going to be 3rd down and 6 with just under 30 seconds. And WSU is going to call their 2nd timeout of the half with 28 seconds left to go. Josiah, they still need 33 yards, but with a 3rd and 6, got to still be playing it aggressive here, especially with Boise State having 3 timeouts, and now they bump it back up to 30 seconds on the clock.
Absolutely. You know, you want to be aggressive. You know, where the ball's at right now, we're about at the 32, 33-yard line. You know, of course, for Janikowski, you know, this is a makeable field goal, but, you know, we're trying to attack and trying to score more points on the field so that we can not only keep it close, but let's keep it tied or maybe even try to take the lead for the first time tonight. So I'm hoping that we can get something fun in this last 30 seconds before we get to half.
Christian Hilborn, who's been playing some right tackle, and last year when Fa'amoe was healthy, he was playing left guard, is actually still on the sideline. So it looks like Tia LeVea is going to be the left guard the rest of the drive. Fa'amoe, the right tackle, as he's fully recovered, it appears, from his knee surgery in the offseason. 3rd down and 6 from the Boise State 33. 30 seconds left to go, a 17-10 Boise State lead. 5-man defensive front for the Broncos. Empty set. Mateer throws. Caught. Williams. 1st down. Inside the 25 to the 24. The clock will stop until the ball is set down with 24 seconds. They'll go hurry up. Mateer ready to go. He snaps it. 5-step deep drop. Throwing. Oh, to the left side. Oh! An interception in the end zone. What a critical mistake by John Mateer. And it's Ty Benefield, the safety, and into double coverage. That ball not anywhere close to a Cougar. John Mateer with a critical mistake here at the end of the first half. And it looks like WSU isn't going to come away with any points at the end to make this game a little closer before halftime.
You know, Luke, what I think makes it even worse, I don't know if you noticed, but Tony Freeman wide open in about the middle of the
crossing over the middle of the field.
Wide open. You could throw a wrecking ball at him and he would have caught it.
And it looks like Madsen and this Boise State offense are just going to kneel out the half. They will. WSU will accept it. And we're going to go to halftime. Boise State up here at home 17-10. The Cougs will take the second half kickoff. We're going to take a short break and come back at you potentially for a little bit of halftime action and then get back at you in the third quarter with some more of your guy Josiah Frank on the call. A 17-10 Boise State lead as we hit the half here from Albertson Stadium in Boise, Idaho in this inaugural battle of the Snake River. You're listening to Cougar Football on KUGR. here at the half, and just a couple minute quick updates on that first half, getting ready for the second half here between WSU and Boise State. We want to use this chance to cover some important scores around college football. First, surrounding some of WSU's future opponents, past opponents, keeping an eye on the success of teams WSU has and will play. Obviously, UW losing last night on a potential game-tying field goal to Rutgers, 21-18. So far today, in the Mountain West, future WSU opponents, Wyoming winning 31-19 over Air Force. San Diego State falling 22-21 to Central Michigan. Fresno State falling 59-14 to UNLV. And future WSU opponent New Mexico defeating New Mexico State 50-40. So some new Pac-12 members in 2026 in Fresno State and San Diego State struggling a bit today, but still some success there from other Mountain West opponents. Another former WSU opponent, Texas Tech, who WSU beat handedly 37-16 at home in week 2, is now 4-1 on the season as they defeated Cincinnati at home 44-41. So back-to-back Big 12 wins for Texas Tech over, well, Arizona State last week and then Cincinnati this week. And so they're 2-0 in conference, right up there at the top of the Big 12. So that could potentially be important for WSU, especially with Washington, one of their bigger wins, falling. Makes this game even more important because of the weight of the wins. And with some of the opponents, Josiah, in the future, maybe not looking like nearly as much of a challenge. The only other score that I feel it is maybe necessary to update the folks on, some former Pac-12 schools. Oregon beating UCLA at the Rose Bowl 17-3 in the second quarter. And Arizona is up 10-3 on Utah at halftime. Utah ranked ranked 10th in the nation, but atop the Big 12 right now. And USC, a former Pac-12 opponent, coming back to beat Wisconsin 38-21 after being down 21-10. So Josiah, obviously some interesting scores from former teams. We've talked a lot about the conferences. So the one thing I want to talk about briefly here at the half before we jump into the third quarter and more football is just your initial reactions on the new conference. A bunch of Mountain West teams, obviously. Boise State joining the conference. Just your thoughts on that and kind of the Pac-12 going forward.
Yeah, I'm honestly super excited for what's going forward. You know, maybe if you would have asked me that question maybe a year ago or 6 months ago, I was kind of upset. You know, the Pac-12, the conference that I grew up in, someone who's a native of Western Washington, I've been watching Pac-12 sports all of my life. So when that kind of crumbled, I was a little bit upset. But seeing all these new Mountain West schools come in, I am so excited for not only, football games into the future, but I think it's going to be a super sleeper basketball conference as well. Our home Washington State going to the tournament last year, Boise State being a contender not only in the Mountain West, but also on the national powerhouse as well. I believe they've been to NIT tournaments numerous times. Then there's a lot of other sleeper teams that I think will really surprise people. I think a lot of the focus is on the Big Ten, it's on the SEC, on the South, and now a lot of the West Coast, the California schools, and Oregon, and now University of Washington on the other side of the mountains. So, that's where all the focus is. That's where all the media is. That's where ESPN, all the big TV stuff is. But, there's some good sports, some good football here in the Mountain West, which will be the newly formed Pac-12 Conference.
Absolutely, love to see it. About a minute and a half before kickoff. We'll take one short breather and come back for the second half of action. WSU trailing Boise State 17-10 at the half.
The Cougs make it right back to the blue turf here at Albertson Stadium. We have a 17-10 ball game as we are ticking off, and we are about to start the third quarter. The Cougs will be receiving to start the half, and they will be going into the direction to the biggest scoreboard. And it looks like Smithson is in the backfield looking to return for the Cougs.
Layden Smithson, a touchdown return last year in his first start as a kick returner against Colorado. He's been the kick returner since, even hit 21 miles an hour sprint speed on that kick return last season.
Yeah, we can see if he can hopefully maybe put on the wheels and maybe kickstart something after kind of a sad half.
Yeah.
Sad end to that half, with that interception. Broncos kick. It will be to Smithson. He will catch it into the end zone, and he will take it out. He's going to go to the right side of the field to the 10 and will be smacked down at about the 17-yard line. And will bring up a first down for the Cougs.
And I was never a kick returner, but kick return 101 that they always taught us was if you're catching it on your back foot, you probably shouldn't return it. Especially when you catch it on your back foot 5 yards deep in the end zone and the opposing kickoff team is already at your 30-yard line. Not a great idea. Not a great return there for WSU, who on their last drive looked like they were going to score and make it close before halftime. And then Mateer with a bad read throws into double coverage for a pick, and now a chance for WSU to respond right back.
Ball on the 17. Mateer in shotgun. Mateer's going to clock for the snap. He's going to sling it over to Josh Meredith, who was nearly clotheslined by a Broncos defender. It's going to look to be the cornerback, the free safety, Ty Benefield. Almost grabbed the face mask there. He swung Josh Meredith around.
Yeah, he went up high, but he kept it clean, and Benefield had the interception at the end of the first half as well.
Mateer in shotgun is again. No one in motion. He's going to fake the handoff. He's going to try to scramble, but ultimately brought down by Hassanin, and he's going to do a little celebration. Gain of about nothing. It will bring up 3rd and 1.
Maybe
3rd and 9.
Maybe half a yard, maybe. But that was on a roll through. Hassanin was all over Mateer, and right now WSU has no rhythm.
3rd and 9 situation. Ball is still on the 17 as the Cougs will look to snap it. Mateer fakes the snap, will get closer to under center.
Cougs were 12 of 34 the first 3 weeks on 3rd down, but were 9 of 15 a week ago.
Trips right. Mateer grabbing the snap. He's going to escape the pocket. Mateer to the 20. He's going to pick up a first down and going to be brought down around the 28 or so yard line, and that's going to move the chains.
And against UW on 3rd and 20 at the end of the first half, we saw him run for a touchdown from the 25-yard line on 3rd and 20. He can make things happen with his legs at any time.
Mateer's going to hand it off to Pulalasi, and he's going to be a gain of about 3. Ran it up to the right side of the field, but brought down ultimately.
And I just don't understand that play for Pulalasi because he had lots of open field in front of him, and it felt like as soon as he was contacted, he just kind of fell down.
Yeah.
Feels like there should have been a little bit more physicality on the run, and it makes sense that they put Parker right back in the game.
Big defensive line switch. Nearly everyone has switched on the Broncos defensive line. Mateer motioning Hudson. 2nd and 7. Mateer's going to sling it out to Hudson. Hudson's going to take it for about 8 yards as he's scrambling in circles. Brought down at about the 39-yard line. That's going to bring up about 3rd and 1.
Really well-designed play that time by OC Ben Arbuckle, and it was designed to get linemen out in front of Hudson, which he had, but his lineman that time, which I believe was Kalani, the center, and the right tackle Fa'amoe, just weren't athletic enough to get up to the secondary, so it wasn't as big as it could have been, but still a really nice second down play.
Hassanin comes back into the game, as well as Virgin Morgan for the defensive line for the Broncos. Mateer still in that shotgun formation. 3rd and 1, 17-10 ball game. Mateer's going to grab the snap, play action, and he's going to try to run it, but is stopped and trampled by the Broncos, and they're going to spot it really close. They might have to pull out the chains for this one. It is super close to the first down, but it looks like he's going to be short about a half a yard.
Yeah.
4th and a couple feet, really, about a foot and a half.
They had Dylan Payne in at running back, and he came off limping, so they put Pulalasi back in the game. They failed on 4th down earlier. There could not be a much shorter 4th down than this.
4th, and it's marked at a yard, but it's nearly closer. About 2 feet. The Cougs will go for it as Mateer will be under center. Pulalasi behind him. It's going to be a QB sneak, and it's going to be push, and they are going to pick up a yard for the first down.
And obviously Mateer's a great scrambler, but you love to see something like that QB sneak, tush-push style play with a guy that's as strong and physical as John Mateer. You're not afraid of him getting hurt in there, and you get those offensive linemen going downhill. It gives you a little bit of momentum against that D-line too.
Cougs now on the 40, 1st and 10. 17-10 ball game. Mateer's going to take the snap, sling it over to Josh Meredith, who's going to pick up about 5 until he's about brought down. About 7. Brings up 2nd and short as...
Sounded like a firework malfunction.
Yeah, that was pretty big.
Yeah.
Firework malfunction, but 2nd and 2. Mateer drops back into the pocket, looking. He's going to try to scramble into the middle of the Broncos' defensive lines. Not going to pick up anything, and is brought down and maybe lost a yard.
You love John Mateer trying to make plays with his feet, but at some point as a quarterback, you have to learn that not losing yards is better than losing yards. Even when you have the chance to make a play, have to find a way to throw that ball away, throw it at somebody's feet. That QB IQ will come with more time and experience, and I know that he wants to make a play, but losing a yard on 2nd and 2 instead of just throwing it away and keeping it at 2 yards is critical.
Big 3rd down for the Cougs, 3rd and 3, 17-10 ball game, 9 minutes left into the 3rd quarter. Mateer, shotgun snaps, going to hand it off to Pulalasi. He's going to run right through the middle and will pick up the first down and a yard after that.
And a really nice physical run by Pulalasi, and the Cougs have already ran off over 5.5 minutes in this 3rd quarter. You love to see him taking it slow, giving their defense an extra breather and working on this Boise State D.
Mateer snap, another handoff to Pulalasi. He's going to cut up left, then cut up right down the middle, and picking up nearly 9 yards, just short of the first down.
That was a really great read by Pulalasi, who was just patient, stayed behind his line, found that backside cut, and found the extra 8 yards of space that time. Really good read on first down by Leo.
2nd and short. Mateer fakes the handoff to Pulalasi. He's going to swing it over to Kyle Williams. Kyle Williams is going to get about 10 yards, and he runs right out of the left sideline, picks up the first down, and another nearly 10 as the ball will be on the 29-yard line.
Yeah, and that time a really good job by Mateer on that screen pass of leading his receiver upfield to get that momentum going before he even caught the pass. Cougs now nearly down in the red zone, have already ran off over 6.5 minutes.
Cougs nearly in the red zone, 17-10, 8:26 left as the Broncos still lead. Mateer, handoff to Pulalasi is a fake. Mateer's going to cut up, make a man miss, but only pick up about a yard or two before he is swarmed. But that guy just swept right in front of his feet. Wish he could have picked up more.
That might have been the most impressive gain of no yards that you'll ever see. He put the hezzy on one defender, dropped him on his feet, made another one miss, and then finally brought the last defender down with him. But ultimately, it looks like they did give him a yard, but not much going on.
2nd and 9. Mateer by himself at the 26. Mateer's going to drop back. Swarm of Broncos storming the defensive line. Mateer's going to swing out and intended for Hudson, but it's going to be broken up, and Hudson is very upset about the play. Broken up by the free safety. Who was that? Looked to be, can't really see his number right now, but broken up, intended for Hudson on the right side of the end zone, trying to aim for the touchdown.
And I mean, that time Mateer had so much space to run. Hudson had a step, but he underthrew that pass badly because he was on the run. And that time, that's the situation where you would love to see John Mateer just use his legs.
3rd and 9. Ball on the 26. Big 3rd down for the Cougs. Mateer's going to drop back, a swarm of Broncos defensive linemen, and he's going to be ultimately sacked way further behind
at the 41. And Mateer is hit hard, but got up a little gingerly. Mateer is slow to get off the field, but jogging, and that's going to bring up a long 4th down for the Cougs.
It's definitely a benefit for Mateer and this team that there's a bye week next week. They can leave it on the field, but I mean, that time it was just a linebacker blitz right back up the middle and too much pressure. John Mateer can't avoid a blitzing defensive back off the edge. Great tackling by Boise State.
Janikowski's punt from the 39 is short and high and is going to be fair caught the 10-yard line by, I believe...
Looked like Cooper Jones.
Yeah, Cooper Jones going to catch it at the 10-yard line, and we are going to switch over to the Broncos offense.
Yeah, another drive that starts off looking good for Washington State. You're running the ball well. Mateer is making, for the most part, the right decisions. And then you get to that final set of downs, and you have a decent play by Mateer, but then he kind of forces a throw that didn't have much going on. The angle that he had to throw it from was obviously not to his advantage. Had plenty of space to run, didn't decide to take it. You have a 3rd down and long. He can't evade a defensive back, and instead of kicking a field goal at least, now all of a sudden he's taking that big sack and you're punting it away. Good punt by Janikowski to pin him inside their own 10, but on the last 2 offensive drives for WSU, they should have at least had 3 on both. They were in position to, and instead of it being at bare minimum a 17-16 game, it's 17-10. And the only upside is because of those 2 drives in the halftime break, your defense has had a nice long breather. But Ashton Genty has had a nice long breather too. And that Boise State offense has had a long time to scheme up this offensive drive. I wouldn't be surprised if they have 4 or 5 plays scripted to start this drive and come out firing.
The Cougs right now, as Boise State, Albertson Stadium trying to start a chance with Boise on one side and State on the other. But the Cougs trying to contain Genty, as you just mentioned, had a huge amount of time to kind of curate something. So we will see what they can do starting at the 10-yard line coming out.
You love to see it. Tonight, 37,711 fans in attendance. It is the largest crowd in Albertson Stadium history. Their previous largest, 37,663 against Fresno State on October 8th, 2022. So they have broken that barrier, and we just saw it in their Boise State chant. This place is absolutely electric, and they have been amazing all night long, break or not. It seems like nobody has left their seat since this game started. And it's going to be an electric finish fueled behind an amazing blue crowd.
We're witnessing history tonight.
We are,
that pretty crazy against the Cougs. So
the most fans to ever watch a Broncos game, it just so happens to be the same game we're at.
Insane. Scoreboard showing Genty as Matson is under center. He's the lone back. On a 6-man front, Matson handoff to Genty, is knocked out by, he's going to bounce off to the right side of the sideline, and Genty is continuing to run and runs for about nearly 30 yards as what should have been a wrap-up tackle by Buda Aukta bounced off and runs nearly a 30-yard first play drive.
Buda Aukta had him in the hole, and he just gets shoved backwards, and then Tanner Moku had a chance on him on the edge, but good luck with that with his stiff arm, one of the best, if not the best, in the nation, and a huge gain for Genty.
Matson under center again, runner in motion. He's going to give it off to, I believe, Tyler Crow, the fullback, and he's going to get a gain of nearly nothing.
Tyler Crow, the fullback, last week 11 carries for 57 yards and a touchdown against Portland State. And he may be a fullback, but they love to give him a few carries sometimes. He's only 2 carries shy of his career high for a season of 14.
17-10 ball game, 5 minutes left in the third quarter. Broncos leading. Matson now in the shotgun formation is going to hand it off to Genty, and he's going to get stuffed this time with a gain of nothing as well. Going to bring up 3rd and 8 now.
Another really nice play by Ansel Dinenbu, who just split right through that left side A gap. Another really nice play. He's been fired up all day, but it looks like Dinenbu, after that play, a little bit shaken up, and he'll come out with the interior D-line change here. Cyrus Webster and Nusi Milani check in.
The officials hovering over the center as the play clock is still counting down. Matson going to drop back, swing over to his left side, is going to swing it over to...
I think that was Bates.
That was
freshman.
Bates. Going to swing over to the true freshman, Bates, who's going to pick up around 6 or 7, but going to bring up 4th and short for the Broncos. But it looks like the offense is going to stay out there.
And I don't know, their defense has been playing really well. 4th and 3 from their own territory. Yeah, I agree with sending out the punt unit here.
Here they go. Really nice job by WSU's defense. They allow that one big run, but every time they've been able to corral
Genty inside of the tackles, they've been able to stop him. When he gets free outside, he's been unstoppable.
Freeman on the back receiving end for the Cougs. The punt is caught, fair caught, at the 17-yard line. Still a 17-10 ball game as we have 4 minutes left into the third quarter.
We have talked about the offense over and over and over again before this game, throughout this game. Big plays here and there, but it's a 17-10 ball game with 4:38 left to go, and the defenses have been making stop after stop. Who could have predicted this? Two of the worst defenses in the country so far this season, especially on the WSU side of things. Bottom 10 defense in the country in terms of yardage allowed. Boise State allowing almost 30 points a game. And it has really ultimately been the WSU defense making big-time plays that has stopped Boise State. They've done a really nice job of that. And I feel like on the Washington State side, Boise State has certainly made some really nice plays. Don't get me wrong, but John Mateer has made some really big mistakes that have cost his team. He's made some big plays, but he also had that bad decision throwing the pick into double coverage in the end zone at the end of the first half. He's taken a couple of bad sacks when it felt like he could have thrown it away or found other options. I thought he easily could have ran for a first down, if not more, on that last drive on that 2nd and 9 from almost in the red zone. And then taking that long sack on the final play that pushed him out of field goal range again. John Mateer is electric, and he can make plays, and he's super athletic. He's got a big arm. I think sometimes he tries to do too much at times, and he needs to just trust his reads and trust kind of what he's seeing. I think sometimes he sees something, thinks that he needs to make something bigger happen, especially on 1st and 2nd down. So then, when he makes those bad decisions, instead of the play that he should make and just trusting what he sees, all of a sudden you put yourself behind the 8 ball on 3rd down and 4th down, and you have to make those hero ball plays, which then forces you to make more bad decisions. And so ultimately, it's a vicious cycle, and he's got to find a way to just trust what he sees and just take the play that's being presented to him, because on most of the plays in this half and in last half, he's had an opportunity to do something, and it feels like he's just made a few too many mistakes so far in this game.
Sometimes the best play is the easy play.
Yeah.
And I feel like at times, Mateer is trying to make something out of nothing when there's actually something there. So we can see if, we can get some of these just easy plays and continue just to march down the field, but do it in the red zone where it can count for points, or at least convert for a field goal, which Janikowski has not kicked a ton tonight. Mateer is going to line up shotgun for the Cougs. The ball is on the 18, 17-10, 4:38 left in the third quarter. He's going to take the handoff, hand it right over to, I believe, Palulalasi. Or no, it's going to be Wayshawn Parker. Parker's going to pick up a gain of about 5 or 6. Going to bring up 2nd and 4.
A nice 6-yard run on 1st down. You stay ahead of the chains, and this is how they drove down the field on the last drive before they just started making bad decisions.
And it's also really good for the defense, who looked fresh on their last drive.
No one in formation as Mateer is going to hand it back off to Parker, and he's going to get brought down nearly at the first down marker. Going to bring up 3rd and 1 for the Cougs.
Cougs have struggled on 3rd and 4th and 1 and short, but they've been a little bit better on their last couple of tries. The offensive line has to get some push here. See how creative they decide to get. Ultimately, you just have to find a way to get this yard. You cannot let this drive go 3 and out after your defense stopped Boise State again.
Time clock clicking, 3:30 left, 17-10 Broncos lead. Mateer in the shotgun, gonna hand it right back off to Parker, and it looks like he might pick it up. If not, he's short.
I thought he fell forward at the end for a first down. If he didn't get it, he's maybe an inch shy, but I really thought he fell forward close to the marker.
I thought it was closer than that. It looks to be about a foot off.
An unfavorable spot. I think they're gonna get the chains.
I think they're gonna get the chains out too, but that looks short.
This will give Dickert some time to decide what he wants to do. Risky move if he goes for it. 4th down, obviously, from your own. Yeah, well, I'll call it about the 27 and 15, 16th line.
Yeah.
This is going to be tight, but I don't think he got it.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And no.
About a nose or so. It was close.
The head ref just held up 2 fingers, barely a pinch short.
It's about an inch.
He held up about like that.
Inch and a half or
maybe
2?
Maybe 1-2 inches. And I think that even though it's in your own territory, you have to trust that your offense can gain 2 inches.
We hope so.
You have to believe it.
Absolutely.
And if you don't believe it, you probably don't deserve to win the game.
Amen to that. Super loud and electrifying in Albertson Stadium. Officials huddled around Coach Jake Dickert.
And it looks like we might get a review of that spot, I think.
Which would be great.
I think Dickert was upset that they didn't review it with how close it was. And now it looks like we are going to get a review, which makes a whole lot of sense. I think it is, at least. Yeah, it is going to be a review.
Once we get the video up on the Jumbotron, but from what I remember, it looked like his lean was at least maybe a half a yard past the marker.
He had a pretty good lean at the end of that play for sure, but it's so hard with bodies around. Kind of from our angle up above things, we can sort of see that that Parker was able to sort of lean through traffic at the end of that play. But if you're on the field looking at it from straight across, you have defenders or other players in your way, it could be certainly harder to see that extra lean.
3 minutes left in this 3rd quarter. The Broncos still leading 17-10. No score change thus far. And hopefully the Cougs, maybe getting this first down can be the kickstart to maybe marching down this field and maybe closing the quarter with at least a score, field goal or a touchdown. We would love to see it.
The other thing, too, is that Washington State has this whole break, this whole review to decide, 1, if they will go for it if it stays the way it is, and 2, if they do, what they're going to run, which you have to imagine would be the best play call that they could think of. I mean, with this much time to think about it, it'll be interesting to see how aggressive they decide to be as they're doing the wave with the flashlights. It's pretty cool.
That's pretty neat. On this blue field,
everything looks cooler on the blue and orange.
It really does. Like, it almost gives like a concert backdrop or something. It's almost like a party in here. I don't know. It's kind of cool. But, going back on the other conversions, there was a few QB sneaks. Maybe it's going to be like a little pitch or a little shovel pass off to, maybe Parker or
I think
Oscar. I don't know, something.
The creative way to go is maybe something fake up the middle on a pitch. But I don't like getting too cute with those short yardage plays. I always tend to just like the physical up the middle. You got the QB sneak earlier. I mean, I really just can't imagine you go into this 4th and barely an inch without believing that your offense on a QB sneak or an inside handoff can't pick up literally half of a finger length.
That is it. The ball is going to stay 4th and inches or an inch or two at the 27. A huge 4th down conversion. The ball will be on the 27-yard line.
What you have to avoid is a bad snap or penalty for WSU.
Mateer under center. Palululasi right behind him.
And they might not go for it. They might just try and draw him off.
It's going to be a QB sneak from Mateer, and I don't know.
I don't think he got it.
I don't think he got it either.
I think he got redirected, and I don't think he got it.
I don't think he did either. It's going to be close, though. It looks like they might mark it.
Yeah, well, they gave him a favorable spot. He did get redirected, but he got a little bit of distance initially. And I think that WSU is set up like they are
they got
calling
the first down,
but they have not.
They have not moved the chains yet.
They are going to review it, but I mean, I believe that they said that he got it. WSU was lined up like they were going to start another play, but I mean, I'm just not sure how a QB sneak you don't get at least a yard,
right?
I mean,
2
he
inches.
got some distance on his initial lunge, and then he got redirected. It's kind of where he got his initial forward progress on that lunge, because obviously where he got redirected was short. But that doesn't matter, because where he gets to it first is where the forward progress would be. And I think it's a situation similar to the previous one where whatever it was called probably stands, because I just don't see any way that you could overturn it. They aren't showing it on the board, but, or at least not the down the line angle, but I can't imagine if it was called a first down that you could overturn that. WSU seems pretty confident that they got it too.
Yeah, it looks like they're getting ready to continue this drive. If they fail to convert, the ball would go to the Broncos on their own 27-yard line. And, you know, Genty kind of starting to heat up. You would hate to give them the ball on their own 27, and they run a pitch or, you know, something out on the outside, and it looks to be...
Well, I don't think a decision has been made, but it does look like WSU defense is coming out.
Boise State's... They failed to convert. WSU will give the ball back to the Broncos, to their offense. Ball is on their own 27 now in a very different predicament with the best running back in the country, arguably.
And I don't know why, but for some reason the WSU offense, I mean, the Boise State defense, you give them an inch and they'll defend it. WSU couldn't pick up an inch.
2:20 left in the game. Matson under center. Genty behind him. Gonna fake off to Genty. He's gonna roll out to his left side. Gonna swing it over to, I believe that is Crow. I believe he's gonna swing it out to
Ben Ford.
Yeah, Ben Ford, number 82.
It's a name we haven't seen yet this season.
There's been a lot of just new names, new people, and a lot of people getting touches, but it just slipped out of his fingertips, overthrown, and it's going to be still 2nd and 10 on the 27.
WSU has to find a way to force a field goal attempt.
Matson is going to hand it off to Genty. Genty's going to cut up to the middle, but is luckily brought down at the 21-yard line, a gain of about 6. Going to bring up 3rd down for the Broncos.
Just enough of a shoestring attempt from Ethan O'Connor to trip him up and allow a tackle in the secondary, but he still picks up 5.
Broncos still leading, about a minute 50 left into the 3rd quarter. Best case scenario would be a field goal with a stop here on 3rd and 5. Matson with Genty to his right, motioning Strawn. He's going to drop back in the pocket after the snap, going to swing it out to, I believe, number 85. He's going to run it in for a touchdown for the Broncos. They are going to score. Matt Lauder's going to get that 23-yard reception. It was thrown to him at about the 15-yard line. He cuts up to the left side. A few missed tackles, and the Broncos are now
crawling up higher on the scoreboard as they lead now 23-10.
And I don't have the exact statistic, but it feels like there's been a missed tackle on just about every play of this game by the WSU defense. It's been a pretty tough effort.
The Broncos kick up and is up through the uprights. That's going to bring up 24-10, 122 in this ball game.
And I think a lot of where WSU's defense has been hurt isn't from their own doing, even though they've had quite a few missed tackles. I think a lot of the hurt for WSU's defense has come from just the incompetence of the offense today. Countless opportunity after opportunity after opportunity. Bad decision, red zone interception. Bad decision, big time sack taken, no field goal. You go for it on 4th and less than a foot. You can't get an inch in your own territory, and you put your defense in terrible field position. I mean, just bad drive after bad drive and several spoiled opportunities for the WSU offense. If they don't come through with points, at least 3, but really you need a touchdown. You can't give Boise State a chance to extend this to 3 scores. If they don't come away with points on this next drive, the game is over.
The Cougs right now down 24-10 in this ball game. We're going to take a short break as we will get right back into Albert Stadium here on the Smurf Turf. You are listening to Cougar Football on KUGR. The kicker, Jonah Dalmas, getting ready for the kickoff. So Broncos leading 24-10, about a minute 20 left. Going to be kicked over the head of the Cougar receiver, and it's going to be a touchback as it's going to bring out John Mateer and the Cougar offense.
Yeah, and we talked about missed opportunities. It's been bad decisions by Mateer on 2 of the drives. The last drive, it was a battle of an inch, and who wanted that inch more? And Boise State proved that they did, and so WSU has to come out and prove that they still want to win this game. And wanting to win the game is much more than just wishing you could have an automatic W. You have to earn your will to want to win on the field.
Mateer's going to drop back into the pocket. He's going to swing a pass for about 15 yards to Kyle Williams, and that's going to pick up a gain of about nearly 20, about 18 yards, as it's going to put the Cougs on their first play on the 44-yard line.
The quicker they can score, the better, and we've seen that they can rack up points in bunches when they've wanted to in the past, and they need that here.
Mateer fakes a handoff. He's going to swing it right back to Williams. He's going to pick about 4 there, bring up 2nd and 6.
Natural, makes sense to start targeting Kyle Williams. You got to be careful because Boise State can key in on that, potentially jump you. Still got to spread the wealth a little bit, but you got to go to all reliable when you need a play, and that is certainly Kyle Williams.
Less than a minute left in this quarter, as we near the start of the fourth. 24-10 into this ball game. Broncos still leading. Mateer dropping back, looking to his left, and he's going to turn right. A little finger roll pass to Josh Meredith, who was intended for it, is not going to be contended, but Josh Meredith is slow getting up. Not the guy you want to see shaking up on a play like that.
Can't afford any more injuries to your weapons, and now it looks like they're probably going to have to take a breather here for Meredith, who can't get up off the field, and you hate to see that. I didn't see what it was.
It looks to be a shoulder, and it looks to be
something upper body.
He was holding his shoulder, and it looks to be that he fell on it. I'm hoping, God forbid, not anything like, a dislocated shoulder or something like that bad. But he is still on the ground, and he looks like he is in pain. Not who you want to see. People are starting to kind of drop a little bit in this game here and there, and you don't want to see more people lose it. But it looks like he just popped up. He's going to probably go over to the tent.
And it's 3rd and 5 here, and I think you have to find a way to at least get a couple of yards. But, 24-10 with 1 quarter left. If you went for it that deep in your own territory, you'll go for it again on 4th down here unless you lose a bunch of yards. Have to find a way to have a positive gain on 3rd down.
3rd and 5 for John Mateer and the Cougar offense. Double receivers on both sides of the field. Motioning Palululasi. Mateer's going to do a little QB sneak. He's going to take off. Mateer to the 50, to the 40, and picks up nearly 15 yards as the Cougs are now on their own 42 or so yard line.
He went flying ninja kick on that one, and then he was talking some smack to Jaden Virgin Morgan on the back end.
Mateer, Cougs on the 36. Going to be a handoff to Parker. Parker's going to pick up maybe 3 or 4 as he's going to run right up to the middle. And that's going to be the end of the 3rd quarter. We're going to be right here. You're going to give it right back off to my man Luke Westfall here in Albertson Stadium, Boise, Idaho. You're listening to the Cougar Football on KUGR.
The dreaded 4-0 start for Washington State football. Back-to-back seasons with a 4-0 start. Last year, going into a bye week, WSU would lose their next game to UCLA before going on a 6-game losing streak, finishing the season 5-7. Can they pull a miracle out of their hat here in Boise, Idaho? Luke Westfall and Josiah Frank back for the final quarter of this Snake River rivalry. Boise State up 24-10. Cougars with the football on the Boise State 33-yard line. John Mateer, 2nd and 8. And he'll call for some changes at the line here. Single back set with Leo Pulalasi. 2 receivers right. He drops to throw. Looking deep. Left side, Williams! Touchdown! Kyle Williams! And it wouldn't be a Cougar football game without a Kyle Williams big-time touchdown. 42 games in a row with a catch for Kyle Williams in college football. He makes another critical play, and he cuts it back to a 1-score game here in the 4th quarter.
Oh my goodness, as the great Keith Jackson would say, whoa Nelly. That was amazing.
Janikowski on to make it a 7-point game. Good. Dean Janikowski, and it's a 24-17 Boise State lead with 14:52 left to go here in the 4th quarter. All of a sudden, Josiah, it's getting a little spicy here in this final quarter of action. John Mateer and Kyle Williams finally in sync on that deep ball. And if John Mateer can start to find the touch on that ball, then this defense may just need one more stop to turn the lights back on here for WSU.
We really talked about how the secondary for Boise State, yet they do have some good players. There are some holes in their defense, in their secondary especially. You know, they're really good up front, especially those front 4 with Hassanin and, you know, with the nose tackle that just dropped out not too long ago, Sheldon Newton. But really in that secondary, there are some holes. So if Mateer can try to connect with Williams, if he can kind of connect with Hudson, if he can connect with Freeman or any of our receivers that can maybe do some slants and some out routes, and hopefully a couple more of those, we can not only tie up this ball game again, but maybe win the thing.
It's going to be an absolutely fantastic finish, as we would imagine, between the number 25 and 26 teams in the country. We'll take just 1 second to catch our breaths before presenting you the final 14:52 in this game. You're listening to Cougar football action on KUGR. Dean Janikowski and the Cougars ready to tee this one up and send it back to Ashton, Genty, and the Boise State offense to finish this game off here in the 4th quarter. The first play for WSU of the 4th quarter. They score a touchdown. They cut it to a 7-point game, 24-17. Can their defense make another critical stop? Janikowski puts a shoe through this one. It'll be caught and a knee taken in the end zone. So Boise State, Maddox Madsen, and the offense coming back out. Madsen today, 10 of 18, 140 yards, a touchdown, a pick, 56%. So he hasn't done anything special. He's missed a few throws, but Genty, despite 15 carries for 143 yards and 2 touchdowns, that almost feels like it's an off day for him.
It almost does.
And a lot of it came on one run early, but he is slowed down a little bit. From the pistol, Madsen and Genty come out here from their own 25-yard line. They motion Bolt across the left, now back to the right side. Turn around, play action, looking back left side, screen pass to Genty. Oh, nearly picked there by Buda Aluk to the linebacker. A perfectly timed shot on the setup screen for Genty, who didn't stand a chance.
Oh my.
And that was telegraphed and a half.
Buda Aluk ran a slant so perfect, it looked like geometry class or something. Goodness gracious, like the plane on that, and almost got an interception.
What a route by Al Ukta, who might have had a pick if he wasn't going for Genty. Now on second down, they give it to Genty. Beautiful spin move. Oh, and an ankle tackle by Buda Al Ukta. Drops it, and it's only an 8-yard gain, but he just saved a 75-yard touchdown right there with that ankle tackle. My goodness.
Whew.
Did the Cougs get lucky there? Buda Al Ukta making another play. And even though they've kept him a little bit more dormant than he's been this season, don't forget that Genty can pop one from anywhere at any time. Single back set, Genty to the left. 3rd and 2 from their own 33-yard line. It's a pitch, Genty left side, and no call on the outside. My goodness, a first down by Genty, and it looks like you saw something there, Josiah. Did we both see the same hold?
I saw
on
the
there?
Same hold. That might even been a face mask.
He got some kind of a piece of him.
Oh my goodness.
Al Ukta on the outside. Maybe he didn't get full contact, potentially.
I don't know.
But he certainly did something to alter his course. Genty picks up the first down, and they move the chains to the 41 of the Broncos. From under center, Madsen, handoff Genty right side. And a great attempt at the tackle there, but Genty off of that tackle, breaking 2 more tackles, cuts left, there goes Genty, still going 20, 15, Tad down to the 5, reaching. Touchdown, Genty. 59-yard touchdown by Ashton Genty, and he broke about 6 more tackles. This kid is absolutely unstoppable. He's over 200 yards on the day rushing. The nation's leader in yards per carry and yards per game is doing it again to a WSU defense that is allowing the 9th most yards in the country. The extra point is up, and it is good by Dalmas. And what was a 7-point lead for about a couple of plays is quickly back to 14 with Boise State on top, 31-17. We'll stop and digest what just happened and bring it right back to you. You're listening to Cougar Football on KUGR. Still deciphering what may be Josiah the next. Ladanian Tomlinson. I mean,
no, really.
Ashton, Genty. Who are we looking at here?
What I've been saying is like a smaller Derrick Henry, because the way he is so quick and strong, that's the only person recently that I can put a name on it. But, you know, Derrick Henry's got 5 inches on the guy.
And the fact that me and you watched Travis Bazana at WSU hit 3 home runs against us last year, and now he's in the MLB as the #1 overall pick, and we might be watching, well, we're watching probably the best player at his position in college football right now at Boise State. We may see him getting picked in the first round next year.
We might indeed.
Ready for kickoff. Back to return is Leighton Smithson. Will he take it out again? No, he'll let it go. It rolls through the back of the end zone. John Mateer, the Cougar offense on their last drive, finally got into a rhythm once more, and it was Kyle Williams who was doing the damage. Caught a couple of quick passes early and finished the drive with a big-time touchdown catch. Josh Meredith is back on the field healthy, which is good to see. Cougs at full force, and they need another quick response here if they want to stay in this football game.
Yeah, they need to act on something quickly, as, you know, there's 13 minutes, but we need something quick.
Mateer on 1st and 10 from his own 25, hands it off Wayshawn Parker, who cuts through the middle of the field, out to the left, still on his feet, finally dropped. 2-yard gain, and with just over 13 minutes left, you have some time, but I'm not sure if you can exactly count on your defense just getting a stop on the next drive immediately. So you really got to try and save as much time as you can. Here's Mateer in a 5-step drop, trying to step up through the pocket. Almost goes down, and he gets out of it, still running around, and oh my. He's dropped by Braxton Feely, the defensive tackle, and just another brutal mistake by John Mateer, who got out of the first sack, had an opportunity to throw the football away, and instead took a 15-yard sack.
Awful. Awful.
3rd down and 23 from their own 12-yard line, and this one could go a long way towards deciding. Mateer absolutely stuffed, and he's dropped in the end zone. And they're going to call him down by forward progress at the 3-yard line. Washington State, now moved back to the 2, is imploding. And Josiah, I don't want to say it's the exact same, but it almost seems like the 4-0 effect is getting to WSU for another season.
Awful. Awful.
Lucky that wasn't a safety, punting from the back of his own end zone, and now we're going to get a timeout by Boise State and head coach Spencer Danielson. Crowd is just about as loud as it's been all night long, and they have not had any reason to quiet down the entire day.
They look defeated. You know, the game is not over.
No.
It's not over at all.
12 minutes and 3 timeouts.
That's a lot of time, but I just saw our offensive line, as well as a good portion of our offense, trickle over to the sideline, and it's looking like they've been beat by like 50-2 or something. You know what I mean? Like, they look defeated, which is not a good sign when you want to try to come back and win a ball game. You know, we get a stop and can get a score, we are right back in this. So
the hype and the excitement is immeasurable and immense on the Boise State sideline. Meanwhile, the WSU sideline just seems defeated. A lot of hands on hips for WSU. Janikowski will try and punt from his own back line. He gets it away. It's a line drive, crossing midfield, caught by Cooper Jones at his own 45. He crosses the 50, and he's back up to WSU territory. ruled at the Cougar 44-yard line. Boise State once again will start a drive from inside WSU territory. And when we come back, we'll find out how much WSU still wants to play in this football game. You're listening to KUGR. Last week, WSU head coach Jake Dickert said that he found out about his team that they can win in different ways, but also that they truly never believe that a game is lost until the game is over. But so far in this fourth quarter and towards the end of the third, WSU on their sideline seems to be mentally defeated. We'll find out in the last 11 minutes and 48 seconds of this game, in which Boise State leads the Cougs 31-17, starting offensively from the Cougar 44, just how much energy and how much belief WSU has left in the tank. Madsen takes the field with Ashton Genty, who has 218 yards and 3 touchdowns on 18 carries. He's averaging over 12 yards a carry. Here's a handoff, Genty. Cuts up the middle, cuts left, makes one man miss, dicing back across the right side of the field in between the two hashes, and is finally brought down by Steve Hall at the 25-yard line with a pickup of 19. And he just continues to be unstoppable. He could be on his way to another 300-yard game.
It looks like our defense is starting to slow down little by little.
And it's hard to keep your energy up as well, Josiah, when you don't believe your offense is going to come through. First down and 10 from the 25. Madsen, handoff, Genty left, cuts middle. Contacted and brought down after a 6-yard pickup. Down to the 19 inside the Cougar red zone. And here comes a late flag. And it looks like it's probably going to be some kind of a personal foul on Keith Brown with a little extracurricular after the play. It was Prince Strawn who got up in his face afterwards. He was fired up. And it looks like tempers on the WSU side may be starting to flare. And it is an unsportsmanlike conduct on Washington State, adding insult to insult in this game.
That just can't happen. Those are stupid mistakes that cost you just yards. And now, you know, the Broncos are now on their own 10.
WSU shot themselves in the foot last week, but was able to come back against an inferior opponent in San Jose State. But against a team like Boise State, who arguably has the better talent, appears that they have not been able to make that comeback. Here's a handoff left side to the running back, Jambries Dubar. He'll pick up 2, and there's another flag coming in from the back. We'll see who that's against. And if it's against WSU, I can only imagine that head coach Jake Dickert will be beside himself.
I would be too. Oh my goodness.
And that is the second play in a row with an unsportsmanlike conduct on Washington State. I'm just not sure how, as a coach, you can let this keep happening. I mean, obviously a lot of frustration from the players, and it's unacceptable, but you have to point to the coaching at some point. I'm just curious, Josiah, as we get to the nitty-gritty, I want to get your opinion on this after this play. Here's Madsen from a two-back set. First and goal from the Cougar 4. Handoff Genty up the middle, bouncing around, and he's pushed back at the 2. Win after a second year in a row of 4-0 start, and then after 4-0, just so flat, just so unimaginably flat, with almost just a sense of just no effort, just giving up almost, it seems like, from their body language. And then the 2 fouls. How much do you put on the coaching staff?
I think it has to go a great deal of portion. Hopefully they can switch something up.
Second and goal from the 2. Madsen, handoff Genty left side. Stood up initially, and he just bowls over a WSU defender to trot into the end zone on his feet and dance. And it's 37-17. It's getting dark in Boise fast. And this future Pac-12 after dark matchup appears to be favoring the Mountain West.
I know it's a sea of blue, but the Broncos saw blood, they saw red, and they've definitely pounced and attacked.
Here's the extra point from Dalmas. It's good. It's 38-17. And Josiah, it almost seems like in a field that has been often misconstrued for a body of water by birds that have tried to dive into it, it almost seems like this field is the ocean, and the Boise State Broncos are the sharks that smelled the Cougar blood in the water, like you said.
Oh yeah, this is the Atlantic, Pacific, whatever type of ocean, but they have attacked and capitalized on the weaknesses of the Cougs on both sides, offense and defensively. And mistakes on offense and defensively, just letting up and slowing down.
On that last play, Genty, he ran into linebacker Kyle Thornton at the 1-yard line. It's a one-on-one in the hole. Kyle Thornton has made huge plays on stops the last 2 weeks, and the Cougs from the 2-yard line have made a stop defensively at the 2-yard line to end both games. Right there, Genty lowered his shoulder to Thornton, and Thornton fell straight onto his backside.
It looked like a JV versus varsity match, and he just ran him over.
It almost looked like Derrick Henry versus his old high school opponents. Here's the kickoff. Smithson lets it go through the end zone. Here comes the WSU offense.
You know, Luke, I'm an optimist. I really try to see the glass half full. It's just about anything. And you know what? I'm trying to see the good in this ball game. There's 9:38 left. That's a lot of football. That's a lot of football. 2-minute warning. You know, we got timeouts. You know, there's a lot of good stuff that could happen. Needs to happen quick. Needs to happen now.
So here's John Mateer. Running back to his right is Parker. 2 receivers right, 1 left. Mateer drops to throw. Looks left, looks middle. Throws underneath, and it's dropped by Hudson. Just didn't have his eyes on the ball.
Can't happen.
Josiah, I'm wondering, obviously, there's been a lot of talk about this playoff, this and that. Boise State looks poised with the new rules of group of 5 teams getting in. Like they could be a serious contender for the playoff, especially the way they played against Oregon. WSU, who's talked about as if they ran the table, could maybe make it in with no conference championship. Certainly doesn't look that way. Here's WSU, 2nd and 10, they're on 25. Down 38-17, 9:33 left to go 4th quarter. Mateer, here comes the blitz. He steps up left side. He'll get taken down for a sack. And it's Hassanin once again. and it's a loss of 4. It'll be 3rd and 14, and also on top of that, Josiah, you would think road loss to Boise State, a really good team, maybe not the biggest loss on your resume, but when you talk playoff, these are the games you had to win. That's probably out the window as we have an injured Bronco on the field. But in this situation, when you're trying to look at the glass half full approach, you're trying to look at this as a quality loss. They're down 21 and there's 9 minutes left, and it looks like it could just start to really get ugly here late. It's almost starting to look like you can't even call this a quality loss, and you have to start to wonder, and I'm curious your opinion on this, Josiah. It's one thing if you have a quality loss going into a bye week and then an easier looking Mountain West schedule. It's another thing when you get blown out like this, and last year it looked like 4-0 and then a bye week and then you hit your schedule, maybe you'll be ready to go. They hit the bye week, they came out flat after the 4-0 start. Here they're flat after the 4-0 start, but they have a bye week next week, then Fresno State on the road. I'm curious your thoughts maybe after this next play on just if you think that same WSU team as last year after their bye week is going to come out, or if we're going to find maybe a newly enthused team after this game, but it's hard to see that right now from their reactions on the WSU sideline. It's going to be a 3rd and 14 from the Cougar 21 for Mateer. Single back set, looks left, throws left. Meredith makes the catch, ducks out of bounds at the 25. Back at the original line of scrimmage. And you have to go for it at this point, so they will.
Luke, I mean, to answer your question briefly before this play starts, if they continue to play how they've been playing the last few minutes, I'm very nervous that history might repeat itself for the Cougs.
4th and 10, and if it wasn't already, this one's most likely for the game. Down 21 points with 8:50 left to go in the 4th quarter. Mateer in the offense, 4th and 10 from their own 25. Mateer, here comes the blitz. Frazzled, throws deep right side. It's caught by Hudson. Crosses the 50, cuts back 40. Crosses right side out at the 30. And there's an explosive play for WSU. Now, Josiah, I know you're a glass half full guy. There was a little bit of energy on that play.
I said the ball game's not over. They just need to score. They need to score quick.
Can a touchdown here get the defense to come back out refocused?
Oh, I hope so. Looks like the sideline's fired up.
1st and 10, Boise State 30. Mateer looking middle of the field, throws low and incomplete. He had Hudson wide open, and he just missed him short.
Those are the mistakes we're talking about. It's cost us the game. You know, a couple quarters ago, it wasn't that bad, but now, in the point that, you know, it's score to stay alive, those have to be gimmies. You have to make those decisions, and they have to be good. You can't make those mistakes. 4th
down territory the rest of the way, but a 2nd and 10 here from the Bronco 30. For Mateer from an empty set, 2 receivers both sides. Mathers the tight end left. He drops back, 2-step drop, quick hitch right side, and oh man. The 3rd missed play of the drive. It dropped by Hudson. A missed throw short to Hudson. That time, an easy hitch, 5 yards by Parker, and he turned upfield before he caught the ball.
It's just simple mistakes. I mean, it's fundamentals of football. Catching the football, protecting the ball, making sure the passes are not overthrown or underthrown.
3rd and 10. Boise State 30-yard line. 4 down territory. Empty formation. Mateer, 5-step drop from the 40. Back to the 45. Now throws it deep left. Corner of the end zone. WSU wanted a flag. They don't get one. He was looking for Mathers. It's incomplete. Covered tightly on the play by Rodney Robinson, and it's 4th and 10 once again. And that just felt like a prayer that time by Mateer.
And it really, I don't know if it had to be a prayer.
And also,
8:13 left.
WSU calling for pass interference, but that ball was 5 yards out of bounds. That was uncatchable.
Oh, absolutely. And we're at a far field goal range. Cougs going for it.
4th and 10 from the Boise State 30. The game on the line once more. Down 21. Mateer, pressure in his face. He's going down at the 45 yard line, a 15-yard sack. And once again, the WSU linemen are scraping their quarterback off of this blue turf.
That's how I feel right now. Hey, the Cougs.
That's a good explanation of what is happening right now.
It's been a lot of simple things. You know, football plays happen. You know, people get, hit, people get tackled, But there's been a lot of simple mistakes. Drop balls, wide open misses, picks, bad decisions after bad decisions.
Madsen with a 1st and 10 from his own 44. He hands it off. Genty, 3-yard pickup. Right now, Washington State with no sacks. Boise State, 7 sacks.
Goodness gracious.
WSU gave up 5 in the first 4 weeks, 7 tonight to the team that leads the country in sacks, Boise State. 4 in each game coming in. They have 7 sacks tonight.
Can't happen if you want to win a ball game.
Those 7 sacks, Josiah, a loss of 67 total yards.
Wow.
Madsen, 2nd down and 8. Bootleg right side, throws on the run behind Camper, who makes a nice adjustment, catches it for a 1st down at the Cougar 43. They move the chains into Wazoo territory.
I hate using the saying history has a chance to repeat itself, but if this pattern continues after the bye week, I mean, it looks like someone beat our offense up. They look like a family member passed away or something. I mean, they look like they've gotten hit.
And on the other end, Boise State is humming right now. We'll talk about this more probably after the game, but they look very, very dangerous. 1st and 10, here's Genty, left side, cuts through 2 tacklers, finally gang tackled after a 5.5-yard pickup.
If you don't wrap up, you have to put 5-6 guys on him just to bring him down. The guy is a wrecking ball. He's a statue.
After this, Boise State has Utah State and Hawaii, both under 500. Then UNLV, who is undefeated, but then the under 500 San Diego State, Nevada. They end the season with under 500 Wyoming. They do play San Jose State and Oregon State towards the end of the year, but I don't see anyone on their schedule right now, Josiah, that's getting in the way of Ashton, Genty, Ahmad Hassanin, and this Broncos roster. Here's a pitch to Genty right side, and he's able to put it in reverse mid-run and back up to about a yard shy of a 1st down. It'll be 3rd and 1 from the 34.
Yeah, we're at the point in the ball game where, you just love to get a stop and just hopefully maybe slow down this train a little bit as the game continues to tick. Yeah.
We're getting into onside kick territory, even if WSU gets a stop. Here's a heavy formation for Boise State. Handoff Genty up the middle, and a stuff from WSU.
Might be short.
He might be about an inch short. And it is 4th down and inches.
Do you think they'll get it? A 4th down conversion of inches?
Boise State going for inches here. WSU could not do that earlier, and we'll find out. This is where you find out about the mental willpower of a team. Your offense couldn't do it against Boise State's defense. Can your defense do it against their offense in a situation where you're down by 21? And if there are any hopes of coming back, it all rests on a stop right here. They do have 3 timeouts, but with time and being down 3 scores, you need this stop. 4th and inches. Timeout Boise State.
There's a flag.
I think they called the timeout just before the delay of game. Looking around the league, or I should say around the league, I should say around the nation. Alabama, how about that finish we saw? They pull out the win at home against Georgia in a top 4 matchup. Good quality football.
Good schools.
Arizona up 16-10 on Utah at Utah with 11:54 left to go. SMU, big ACC win over Florida State. No other major scores going around the country, but former Pac-12 member Stanford went to Clemson today, and they were introduced to ACC culture, losing 40-14.
Wow.
Also, General Booty and the Louisiana Monroe Warhawks are 3-1, even though Booty got benched after starting the game 1 for 4 with the pick. But Louisiana Monroe and those Warhawks, 3-1. So good for them, and one of the better names in college football. Game on the line. Nail in the coffin is lined up, and the hammer is about to be swung. Here's play action, boot left side, wide open is Lauder. 30-20, convoy 10, touchdown. And Josiah, that hammer hit right on the head. That nail is in the coffin, and this game is pretty much over. 44-17, 4-score game with 4:16 left to go here in the final quarter. And this is not, Josiah, just a matchup of 25 and 26. This looked more like a matchup of 1 and 76.
That was.
This
not,
is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an absolute trouncing. Extra point good. 45-17.
A crumbling of the Cougs. Might be an understatement. I don't know. That was almost like the spit on the grave, let alone the nail in the coffin. That was 6 feet under.
Looking for positives.
Positives.
Boise State is joining the Pac-12 in 2 years.
Great, and they're a great program. I hope the best for a really cool school that's not super far from us, that has a really promising schedule and future in the season. And, you know, who knows what could happen for them. Hopefully
Great
they make
city,
the playoffs or whatever.
Great food, great people, great
food.
stadium, great
It's cool.
field, great talent, and above all else, they have a loyal fan base here in Boise.
We were here to witness history.
They sold out their game against Utah State next week.
Wow.
And let me tell you what, Josiah, WSU has not sold out a game yet this year. Probably not going to sell out the Utah State game. Boise is a huge, huge city, for sure. Bigger than Pullman, obviously, statistically.
Oh, yeah.
But, man, they have a passionate fan base. It's electric in here. This stadium was electric the whole night. There was never a lull. Here's a pooch kick to an up man on the kickoff. And the WSU offense will go out with 4:16 left to go. Down 45-17.
Yeah, you're at the point of the game where...
Well, it looks like John Mateer is going to come back out if you're going to say the backups come in. Starting unit is still out there for WSU. Yep. I mean, I have to imagine with a bye week next week that you at least want to try and get yourself in rhythm.
Try to get another score or
some
something?
kind of momentum.
You think?
Mateer from his own 25. Handoff. Parker wrapped up and dropped for maybe an inch gain. That time by Herbert Gums.
I hope history doesn't repeat itself in Pullman. I hope. Because this is nervous.
There were thoughts last year after a 4-0 start that Dickert might get offers for the job that the Oregon State head coach got at Michigan State. Obviously derailed by the end of that season. 4-0 start this year, maybe some hype building up again. You got to wonder what the rumors are going to be like swirling around the coaching room, as here's a quick hitch hit to Kyle Williams, still on his feet, busting across the 50, across the 40, down to the Boise State 48-yard line. Make that the 38-yard line.
Best case scenario, you know, they get maybe a quick 40-yard pass and, you know,
start on-siding it.
Yeah, I mean, you know what I mean? Anything can happen. Anything can happen.
Josiah, what do you think the reaction is going to be like after this game from the media and from fans, where do you think the majority of blame will be placed in this? Coaching, specific players? Where are we going to see the media and fans tend to go to after this? As Mateer hits Hudson in the flat, crosses the 35, has his undershirt ripped in pieces, and he's down at the 33.
I think for media, it's really easy to point it on players, point it on Mateer, point it on the captains, point it on the big guys. Honestly, coaching, there hasn't been a ton of, fire underneath Dickard's belly or anything. It just kind of looks nonchalant from the sideline. I don't know.
It's, of course, harder to tell from up in the booth, but I wouldn't disagree. Here's a pass behind Kyle Williams on about a 5-yard out that was nearly intercepted that time by Jeremiah Earby. And it's going to be 3rd down and 4. Nothing to lose, of course, 4th down territory. Here comes the tight end Trey Lechner into the game for his first snap. Some backup receivers coming in. Brandon Ganashamoorthy is in the game. Running back Dylan Payne as well. But starting QB Mateer is still out there. And we get a penalty.
Yikes.
See what that is. After this game, WSU a bye week, and then they hit the road to face Fresno State, who's 3-2. Their lone losses to Michigan, and this week 56-14 to UNLV, who's undefeated.
Mental mistakes. Another penalty, false start for the Cougs. It's just that's been the tale of this game, is a lot of mental and fundamental mistakes have cost in the ball game, and it's just trickled down to the entire team, really.
3rd down and 9 from the Boise State 37, 2:20 left to go. 45-17, Mateer looking, stepping up, running up the middle, crosses the 30, has a first down, and the rare John Mateer slide at the 28 for a first down. That's going to take us to the 2-minute timeout. We'll take a timeout. Be back with you here from Boise State. 45-17, the Broncos lead here on KUGR. (45-17) Boise State lead with 2 minutes left to go here from Boise, Idaho, and what we were hoping would be an amazing first ever Snake River rivalry has potentially just not even been a rivalry game. It's just been like Boise State was taking on Portland State again almost. It's been pretty rough. Similar score to the final of Portland State.
Great first half.
Here in the offense, first down from the Boise State 28. Josiah, maybe this game a launch pad into some more energy going into the bye week, 2 weeks to prepare for an easier Mountain West schedule. Maybe you get the energy right and get back on track, but I almost thought that San Jose State game, even though they won, would kind of be that after they nearly got taken down in double OT. You'll get your reaction after this play. It's a handoff to Parker, who's wrapped up high, dropped for a 2-yard loss.
Yeah, you would think after that, double overtime thriller, definitely the highlight game of the year so far, that, maybe, we could get the ball rolling even more. But this game, I just don't know. It's very scary on how the Cougs have looked in the second half.
Injury to insult, Wayshawn Parker slams his helmet down as he limps off the field to the bench. Mateer play action, rolls right, throws back over the middle. Hudson going for the catch, hit as he caught it, and it's incomplete. Some late substitutions. It's a 3rd and 12 for WSU with 1:22 left to go. 45-17 Bronco lead. Hudson comes out of the game. And they draw Boise State off sides. It's a free play. Mateer just flips it off to Pulalasi as he's getting dropped in the backfield, and Pulalasi will lose about 5 yards, but it wasn't off sides on Boise State, so it'll be a 5-yard gain. What kind of adjustments do you think you can make during a bye week, Josiah? Obviously a well-timed bye week, but what kind of adjustments can you make? I mean, is it pure, obviously a lot of poor communication. They will get healthier after the break, but it almost felt like a kind of an effort problem. How can you fix that during a break? As Mateer gets set here, I'll have you answer that after this play. Game still is going on. We're going to get a timeout here by Boise State. So I'll ask again.
Yeah.
How much of this energy issue can they fix over the break, and how much more do you think maybe they do have to fix than even just that?
Luke, I really think it starts at the top of the Cougar football organization. I'm talking head coach Jake Dicker. Right now, from what I've seen of great coaches within college football, within the Pac-12, within, tons of good coaches throughout football in any level, it starts with the coach and it trickles down. There have been some very key and stupid and mental and fundamental mistakes that Dicker looks like it didn't really matter a ton. And so when his energy is mediocre, it travels down to captains. Their energy is mediocre, travels down to, the front lines, the front 11s of each side. And it just kind of trickles down to the whole team. It looks like the entire staff right now, looks like they just want to get out of Boise and get back to the Palouse.
3rd down and 7 from the 25 of Boise State. Still some loyal blue fans out in the crowd. Mateer, play action, throw right side, is caught. And running down inside the 5 is Chris Hudson. Down at the 4. Ty Benefield to tackle. Closing in on the 1-minute mark, and WSU trying to at least stamp this game with something positive to finish it and trim that deficit just a little bit. But Josiah, the Cougars, I know it's Ashton Genty, allowed a 259-yard rusher today. Here is a handoff to Pulalasi for about a 2-yard gain, and that is incorrect. I shouldn't have said 259-yard rusher. He has 259 yards. But Genty, 259 rushing yards. I was right.
Wow.
26 carry, 10 yards a carry. It's a first down, a run. So they run again inside and maybe get a yard. 21 seconds left to go, and the Cougs will use a timeout trying to put it in the end zone one more time before this game's over. And so they will use that timeout, first of 3. And it'll be 3rd and 1, so if they don't get it here, they could use another timeout and run one more play. Big picture, Josiah.
Yeah.
No conference championship allowed this year.
Correct.
And a loss like this, I mean, listen, maybe not completely, but all but eliminates you probably from a playoff. I mean, maybe Boise State could be just absolutely dominating even in the group of 5 this year and make it, but
right.
even if you win out, blowout fashion every game, everyone will look back to how bad you got beat at Boise State and say, why put them in? So it makes you wonder what they're playing for. We'll find out here. 3rd and 1 from the 1. Handoff Pulalasi, touchdown right side. So Leo Pulalasi is into the end zone for the first time this season. Garbage time touchdown for the Cougs. They do cut down on that deficit, and it's 45-23 with 19 seconds left to go. Cougs a chance to get it to 24 with the extra point. 11-play, 75-yard drive spanning 3 minutes and 57 seconds. Here's Janikowski, who's had himself a decent day. He is perfect on all his extra point and field goal attempts. Mateer the hold. Snap is good, hold good, kick good. And that football got to the top deck.
Nearly outside.
45-24 as Boise State is likely to kneel this one away. So Josiah, what is it that WSU is playing for? They have the bye week to figure it out, but a Mountain West slate, not a Pac-12 conference slate, no conference championship in order, probably not even thinking about a college football playoff now, if not just because they probably wouldn't get there because of this loss, also because after a loss like this, you can't be thinking about college football playoff appearances in your locker room. So what is it that they're playing for out there in every practice and every game going forward?
Yeah, just to reiterate, they're not playing anymore for a national championship. But, you know, it'd be great to maybe get into one of those bigger bowl games, as WSU has not won a bowl game in a good while. I believe since 18 was the last time we've won a bowl game, especially a bowl game with significance. So, you know, it'd be nice to maybe come back with something like an Outback Bowl, or, you know, something like of those lines of a good bowl game, a good win, and a winning season. You know, not everyone can win a national championship, and to the looks of it, those hopes might be out the window.
So many big picture questions that will have to be answered over the bye week. It'll be interesting to hear Dickert's responses on some of his future press conferences, as well as here's a squib kick picked up and downed by Cam Camper at the Boise State 21-yard line. Here comes Boise State to kneel this one away. And Josiah, I don't think we need to do a game MVP. I think we know who that would be.
Yeah, he's ridiculous.
A shout out to tight end Matt Lauder, who had 4 catches today for 96 yards and 2 touchdowns. They might have found themselves a really nice looking tight end. Maddox Madsen has done an excellent job as he kneels this one down and kneels this game away of managing the game and doing what he has to do. But Austin Genty, 26 carries, 259 yards. And Josiah on top of that, 4 touchdowns. Of course, the totals today for Genty raises him to 13 touchdowns on the season rushing. Puts him, of course, up over 900 yards on the ground. Or excuse me, up over 800, I should say, on the ground. And even though, I mean, how about this, Josiah? He had actually a bad day. He actually lowered his yards per carry.
Isn't that insane?
By having 10 yards per carry.
You can have
average 10.5.
You can have a 250-yard day, and that's a bad day.
The 2 teams will meet on the field, 2 future Pac-12 foes in 2026. WSU falls to 4-1. Boise State improves to 3-1. Next week, the Broncos will play at home against Utah State. The Cougars have the bye, and we'll hit the road for Fresno State the week after that. And then the week after that, we have Hawaii. Of course, stay tuned for all our KUGR home broadcasts in the future. Make sure to check out our broadcast from San Diego with me and Davis. Make sure to check out Davis and our guy Levi's call from Oregon State in the Pac-2 championship. But Ashton Genty, 26 carries, 259 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Josiah, final takeaways of this game, short term, long term, and any final thoughts?
Short term, Ashton Genty should win the Heisman. Kind of
Hunter?
Huh?
Over Hunter.
I think so.
I think so too.
You know, even a little talks of Cam Ward have been in the picture and stuff like that. He's nice out there in Miami, former Coug. But Ashton Genty is the real deal. Long-term goal, or I guess outlook, at least for the Coug side, should be this loss should not define the season. Yes, it's going to be the biggest loss. Yes, it's probably going to hurt the most. Yes, it was probably the loss that could have gone the way of maybe a national championship or the college football playoff, as the Broncos leading themselves in a team prayer. That's pretty cool to see. Kind of in the center. That was really neat.
Absolutely.
But anyway, at least for the Cougs, it should not be the end of the season. We should not see a repeat of last season where a big loss turned into a avalanche of a season. So I'm hoping that, you know, this bye week can turn it around, light some fire underneath them, and hopefully this next schedule, the next few games after the bye week, we have Fresno State, Hawaii, San Diego State, Utah State, New Mexico State, and then at Oregon State. So for these next few games, we're just hoping that they can turn it around, get a few wins, and come out with a winning season. Because at the end of the day, not every team can be the SEC schools or the Big 12 schools that go win 10, 11 games every year. We're not Ohio State. We're not Georgia. We're not Alabama. We're not Ole Miss. You know what I mean? Like these teams that win a lot every year, it's okay. That's not a lot of teams in college football. So I'm hoping ultimately that this loss doesn't define us and that hopefully we can come out with a bowl game and maybe a bowl game win. That'd be pretty neat.
Huge shout out to the KUGR operations and getting us on this trip and sending us where we are and putting us up in the hotel that we're in and all this amazing stuff. Shout out to the city of Boise. Absolutely beautiful city.
Gorgeous.
You can walk around at night, feel safe, go places. Great hotel. Everyone that we've met in every capacity, from our shuttle driver to the staff working here, have been amazing. Shout out to all the staff here at Boise State. We got this beautiful Fox Sports national TV press box to call the game from because Fox Sports was calling this game remotely. So we got the absolute hookup with some free Idaho potato merch, an amazing view, just an absolutely beautiful facility, and what an amazing privilege it is to call this game from the blue turf in an amazing stadium, in a game that had the most fans at a Boise State game in the history of the school and the history of this new field, which is just absolutely beautiful. The atmosphere here is amazing. The fans are amazing. The players were amazing. Ashton Genty is amazing. And just what an amazing experience. So a big thank you to all of those people and all of this amazing stuff that we got to experience here this weekend. We'll be driving back next week. Make sure to check out all of the KUGR volleyball broadcasts this week. Josiah, final thoughts before we send this one back to the Palouse.
Yeah, my last little factoid, one athletic contest does not define your character either as an athlete or as a person. So I hope the WSU football team can maybe hone in on that one loss is not the end of the world. One setback can call for a major comeback. Go Cougs, and thank you for everyone that's listening tonight.
Absolutely. One last final shout out to every single person that tuned in today. You are all amazing, and we appreciate it, and KUGR appreciates it. Hope you enjoyed what you heard, even though it got a little bit rough, ugly there towards the end. Hopefully this loss does not define this season, a bye week, and hopefully Cougar football can get it back on track. One last big shout out to everyone involved with today's broadcast and everything that made it come together over the weekend. Me and Josiah got to go get some Culvers. We will see you all next time. Appreciate it one more time. For Josiah Frank, I'm Luke Westfall. Shout out from Albertson Stadium, Boise State, and the final here from the first ever quote-unquote Battle of the Snake River. Boise State 45, Cougs 24. Thank you all, and as always, go Cougs.